Hi, Grace. Interest? Go ahead and share the live out if you want. We're going to do internet trolls tonight. Hi, Nanny. Hi, Grace. Misty Lynn. This is a special request. Hannah, TikTok Hannah wanted me to do different types of internet trolls so that you can start to kind of recognize them. We had an example of it today. Okay. I was over on Keys at Key, Kei, over on her live. I was just watching, and then she had Quiche up on, and then that Boston. I guess, I don't know all of the Bree people, but I guess Boston used to be with Bree and them, and she's broken away. So Boston was up on the panel, and all of, Bree's people came in. I didn't see Sheena and Rogie, but like a few that I had not known, they jumped in and they just started attacking Boston. They weren't even talking about, you know, like anything, Bree or them or anything. They just like used the opportunity to attack her. And I guess she hadn't been on the panel before or whatever, but so now, okay, Misty, yeah, you were there? Yeah, hi B, I was there, yeah. And wasn't that a trip? You know? So now you've had a situation where for 2 years, that group has trolled all the anti-gypsy people. Now they're trolling themselves. They got, people leaving and they won't let them leave. They go after them and attack. And you can only think these people have been in their own private discords, right? And that's how they find out when we're doing lives and shit. They've got people monitoring all of us, and then they alert them when we're doing lives. And so they all come over and they lurk. They watch outside, or sometimes they jump in here and lurk. But now they're concerned that if people leave, okay, it can be twofold. They can be Trojan horses and not really leaving and just trying to get us to like trust them. Or it could be that they are leaving and that Bree and them are concerned that they're going to let the secrets out, from the private Discord. So they've got to get, hi Tinkerbell, they've got to get, a handle on it. So, okay. So, hi Susan. All right, so tonight, wait for Hannah to get in here because she asked me to do this. So, yeah, she better get her butt in here. I don't think she's working tonight. I know Harsh might be late. Hi, Shia. Hi, Breezy Bunny. Yeah, I think Breezy Bunny, I think you were in that live with Key today, too. Hi, Hairspray. And Nanny, Angela. Okay. There are, if you search online, just types of internet trolls. The first one that's going to come up is it's been on there for years, the 25 like top types of trolls, and they're pretty basic. But the one I'm going to read tonight is there's 130 different types of trolls. How you doing, Hairspray? Misty Lynn? Okay. We're talking about types of internet trolls, and we're going to basically show you how Gypsy's trolling all of you. You know, how, especially now, because she's desperate to maintain the lie. You know, and I want to show you how Gypsy's given herself away by projection and by these different things that when she's taunting. You know, like the other day, she said, well, first they had that, what I call the manifesto. I'll print it out and put it over in my Facebook group. But how she said, everybody needs to she knows she's a controversial person. And it's not controversial, you know. She has very few followers anymore. I mean, like real followers and supporters that will go to bat for her in like a discussion or whatever. She does not have enough for all of the people that are doing content on her now, especially over here on TikTok. If you just search Gypsy Rose, you know, in the search bar thingy, very few support comes up. So, you know, people doing videos where they support her. Out of every 50, there'll be maybe 2 and they're still doing the same thing. We don't understand why you're all obsessed with a woman that you don't even know. You know, we just don't understand that. Don't you all have lives? Well, yeah, we have lives. And we want Gypsy Rose out of our lives. We want Gypsy Rose. I use internet every day. I have used internet every single day of my life since the 90s when I got on it. I own the internet. Gypsy doesn't own the internet. I want her ass off the internet. Hi, Shia. Trailblazer. I don't recall seeing you before. Welcome. Mariah. Michelle 001. Hi. Rare. Okay. Angela. Is Hannah in here yet? I think I invited her. Yeah, I had to invite her. Well, I can start, because this is not going to be a long one tonight, because I want to do another Gypsy tomorrow night, and then next week I'm going to do a JFK with Tommy, and then I had a guy that I wanted to invite over here to talk about the Zodiac case, because he has a suspect that's his family member, and I've been kind of guessing into his lives, and I wanted to maybe start my other true crime thing, because Tommy wants to do a true crime podcast, and I want to start talking about other things besides Gypsy. And, okay, hang on a second. And I also want to start showing you the books that I have. I'm constantly uploading my books, and I want to read those off to you so that you can tell me what you want to discuss. I've got a large collection of Manson books, pretty much every book written on Manson. I've got Jonestown, I've got MK Ultra, I've got obviously Kennedy, but a lot of true crime books. Yeah, Zodiac case. Yeah, he's on here. Something his name 007 is in his name. I'll post when I don't know when he's available. So exactly, Misha. Hi, Dot. Gypsy's her own worst enemy. So I was on a track and then I forgot. Yeah, I used to read those True Detective magazines too when I was a kid. But Gypsy, in her manifesto, is what I call it, said 2 things. She said she's a controversial person. She knows she's a controversial person. And this was when she started to throw everybody under the bus. So in the last few weeks, she has thrown Melissa Moore under the bus and said that all the mistakes in her book were her fault and the other co-writer faults. It wasn't her, because she wanted to edit it when it went to audiobook, and they wouldn't let her. So just throwing the publisher, Melissa Moore, everybody under the bus, right? Then she threw her lawyer under the bus, where she said, her, when they were planning this Munchausen defense, she never had any conversation with her and her lawyer. They never had any conversations about it. Now, I know that's a bold-faced lie, because every case, the client, the person charged, is in charge. That lawyer can't just go and give a defense. Like Jodi Arias, for instance. You want an example of that? Read Kirk Nermy's book. Jodi Arias' attorney wrote 3 books, and it was all about the case. He ended up having, I think, like a heart attack or something. I mean, he was, or got cancer, something. Lost a ton of weight. But he writes all about running that case. And, for instance, he did not want to do this stuff where Jodi Arias claimed that Travis was a PDF file. He didn't want to do that at all. Did not want to attack Travis like she did. That was run by Jodi, because that lawyer has to do what she's the client. Has to do what Jodi wanted. And it's the same thing with Gypsy. That lawyer could not have done that Munchausen defense without talking to Gypsy, and Gypsy okaying it. All right? And Gypsy knew about it because Christy and the other legal assistant was the ones that went into the Reddit and the Facebook groups and basically did, crowd control, marketing. That's what they're doing. Is she in here? There you are. I was waiting for you, Hannah. Okay. So, geez, already 43 people. Yeah, yes, Misha. She admits to and that's in Mommy Dead and Dearest, with the little short curls, and she's like, this is the first time I've been honest, except for my attorneys, and I haven't really been honest with them. That one has always flabbergasted me, because, and that's Michelle Dean, who wrote the original article that all of this bounced off of. And you got Michelle sitting there saying, we don't know if we ever get the full story from Gypsy. Well, yeah, but you wrote this article, and that everything grew off of that. So we never got the full story of the Munchausen because Dee Dee didn't have Munchausen. I think when I get this project started, and I put all the names in there, Michelle Dean's going to be one of the first ones. Because what I want us all to do is see where those people went. Like the director of Mommy Dead and Dearest, Erin Carr, she is doing this big Murdoch miniseries on HBO now. Is it HBO or Hulu? Sulu, because I'm watching it through Disney. Yeah, it's going to be, I think, an 8 or 10 parter. And, so that's where they went. We got to go back and see where all these, like Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil made his podcast. His original podcast was on Gypsy Rose, The Poison Thorn of Gypsy Rose. And Gypsy got pissed at him because in that podcast, Dr. Phil told Ken not to get involved with her because she needed counseling and shit. Yeah, B, I had not found out. I mean, I had not followed the Murdoch case. A little bit on like 48 Hours and shit like that. But I had not really dug into it. It is freaking fascinating. The way that guy, the way he just like swindled all his clients. And, So I'd like to talk about that. I want to talk about the Lori Daybell case. That was a big one. Karen Reed. And, the different miniseries that are coming out, like the Ed Gein that Ryan Murphy just did. And the one they did on Ed Gacy Peacock. Because what I want to get into is how this is becoming like a societal thing, where we're making these murders and these famous murders into entertainment. You know, it's gone away from educating ourselves on true crime, and it's become entertainment. And this is it. These murders aren't entertainment, you know. So there's real victims, and there's real victims' families. And like, look at Dee Dee's family. They've not been able to live their life in the open. Dee Dee's sisters can't come on TikTok. Everybody's like, why haven't you spoken about your sister? Because they can't. You know, if these two women got on TikTok, they would be swamped. You know, all these people demanding things of them, asking them questions, when it's not our fucking business. So, yeah, Lifetime has done that, Sherry. But like Ed Gein, I've been following that, my gosh, for decades, because Robert Bloch is one of my favorite authors, and I used to have all of his stories and everything, and he wrote Psycho. So yeah, I've known about it. I used to talk about Ed, and everybody was like, "What? Who's that?" You know. But now, okay. Hi, Sandra. On TikTok, you got all these young men imitating Ed. And they're doing it, you know, like they're making comedy skits out of it. Talking like him and stuff. Yeah, John Douglas is one I've always followed. I want to get back into the Adam Walsh case, because there's a lot of shit with John Walsh's daughter. Yeah, tons of shit beyond Gypsy. And, you know, Gypsy's done. But I'm still going to build this project because it's a legacy. And it will live on after us. And my goal now is to change the narrative and show the public how they lied to them. And then once we do that, because I want to have this one woman up here, I forget her name, Edit. She's doing really good little short videos now. She used to support Gypsy, and now she's just like doing really angry. I want to have people that supported Gypsy up on my panel, and I want to know what drew them, what changed their mind. I never believed her, since, you know, like I said, when I saw Mommy, Dead and Dearest and saw the BDSM stuff, I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. So for me, it's always been 2011. Everything she did in 2011 has completely destroyed her story. Because if she's going to say her mother controlled everything she did, well, Dee Dee wasn't very good at control, because Gypsy got up and walked off to be with Dan, you know, and then Gypsy pew-pewed her in the face. So I don't see how Dee Dee was controlling much of anything. And so when Bree and all of them were in Key's live today, I was down there asking them questions, and I even jumped up on the panel because I wanted to ask Bree specific questions. They all danced out of the room. They would not answer anybody. They were just there to attack Boston and disrupt the live. So that's where they're at now. That's all they have. So I'm going to show you what they're doing. Okay. Hang on a second. Can everybody still hear me? Now, I can't read the chat when I do this because I've got you in a little container here. And I'm going to be reading. So maybe if somebody wants to monitor the chat for any issues. Hannah, you asked me to do this, so you monitor the chat. Hannah, do you want to come up on panel? If you want to come up on panel, come on up. And then you could just monitor the chat. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is basic, you know, troll kind of like definition. Most trolls, it's called the trollosphere. This all started decades ago when we all got our personal computers. Before we had, public had access to personal computers, all these tech guys were on, and girls too, were online. And they, basically, it was their space. They lived there. And so when we all these newbies, and quite frankly, we were all stupid when we got online. We had AOL dial-up, and they had to make it user-friendly. Well, all these tech people that had been online writing code and shit for years, they were like, no, you idiots, a bunch of idiots were, flooding online. So that's where this kind of began. They created like viruses that they could plunk you down. I used to be in chats and I would get myself in trouble and they would throw a virus at my computer. So I kind of learned how to be respectful of, the people, of all those tech guys that came before us. And if you were respectful and, gave them their props, they ushered you in and they helped you learn. Tech people are not, some can be assholes, but they're not all. Okay, hang on a second. So, it's called the trollosphere. All right, the trollosphere is the total of internet trolls using cyberspace and digital devices to provoke, judge, and defame others. That's their whole game. The trollosphere represents all troll typologies, their jargon, and cyber attack patterns. Just as the blogosphere is segmented into blogger niches. Remember, blogs were real big. They're not anymore, but they're still effective. Okay, the trollosphere has targets and online environments favored by trolls. Trollosphere includes the thoughts, feelings, and perceptions of online users' experience when alone or in a group who share similar troll definitions. Now, most trolls, they're called predators. Most trolls are male, okay? They spend a prolonged period of time online and are likely internet addicted or at risk for internet dependence. They meet all three criteria for being an predator. A self-awareness of causing harm to others directly or indirectly using ICT. The usage of ICT to obtain, tamper with, exchange, and deliver harmful information. A general understanding of cyber stealth used to engage in criminal or deviant activities or to profile, identify, hang on a second, locate, stalk, and engage a target. Bree and them are doing all of that. All right? When Bree said, JFK Andy has sexy pictures online, what she was telling me is she's been over to my Facebook account. And she's collected all my sexy pictures. That's why I posted those pictures of me to show you what Bree was talking about. So they will go to your page and they will collect everything about you. And they'll just dump it in a file. They have files on you, okay? And I think Dreamer at one point, somebody said, one of them people said that they had, Sheena said, I got a bunch of pictures, of people online, kids online, and so on my phone and shit. They're giving it away. They are keeping files on every single one of us, okay? Because they need to discredit us. That's their goal. If you're talking about Gypsy, they need to handle that. And that means they need to discredit you. So that's what Bree did in Keys Live today, if you were watching, okay? They went up on Boston. They attacked Boston. And then they went after Key and they said, well, you support a person who tells people to unalive themselves. And they kept repeating that down in chat. They're repetitive. They're there to agitate, okay? So their goal is to harass. They target, they stalk, they identify you, they keep files on you. Whoop, hang on a second. Hold on. Something's happening with my live. It's giving me kind of specs or something. Okay, hang on. Come on. Oh, here, let me try to do this. Okay, I'll do it that way. You'll see my big ass nose. I can see the thing there. Okay, I don't know what Sheena is doing currently to Nicole. I know what Sheena is a classic troll, guys. Just, they're agitators, all right? So, they tend to have few offline friends, and online friends often engage in the same type of online harassments. They tag team, all right? All these trolls hang out together in a group. Bree is just a group of trolls. That's what she has over there. They are highly susceptible to the states of de-individuation and the inhibition effect experienced by all online users. For internet trolls, these states are highly influential in their online lives. They are psychopathological in experiencing power and control, online fueled by their offline reality of being insignificant, angry, and alone. And there you get it right there. Gypsy's core supporters, all of them. Think about their lives. Sheena, Dreamer, Rogie, all right? I don't know much about the other ones, but those, they didn't feel like their lives were influential or valuable. Latching on to Gypsy makes them important. She's a fucking celebrity in their eyes. She thinks she's a celebrity. She's not, but she thinks she is. Okay? So latching on to her makes their life more important. Okay? The severity and magnitude of psychological abuse they inflict upon their online targets is directly correlated to their probability of suffering from an Axis 1, Axis 2, or dual diagnosis of mental illness. I'm freezing. Can you still hear me? Let me know if you stop hearing me. It's repeating? Am I repeating? Shit. I don't know why. Hang on. Let me try to unplug. Okay, how about now? Am I still repeating? Okay. Where was I? So basically, they are mentally ill. And they're spreading that all over, for us to enjoy. When online, they show a lack of empathy, have minimal capacity to experience shame or guilt, and they behave with callousness and a grandiose sense of self. From a psychodynamic standpoint, internet trolls create and sustain an intrapsychic myth of power, greatness, and domination. Although all humanity is guided through life by internal myths and archetypes, the internet trolls' myths and archetypes are highly distorted. Now, this is where, okay, they are developmentally immature, tend to be chronically isolated, and have had minimal to no intimate relationships. This is where you get the incels. What the incels that live in their mommy's basements and they're angry because they don't have relationships with women. That's what you get this. So a lot of these, those guys, they troll TikTok and Twitter and everywhere like that. Any kind of discussion forum. And this is their playground. So some of these trolls that are jumping in, these young boys, they can just be incels. All right? Some can be linked to my Roger Stone shit. Some can be linked to Gypsy. We never know. But their goal is to disrupt the chat or discredit us. That's the goal. So, there's 130 here. I don't know if I'm going to get to all of them. But there's the affected profundity troll. These are like philosophers, okay? They will post endless pages of pretentious drivel that is intended to appear wise, but usually just makes no sense. Bree does this, okay? Bree is doing this when she says, I've got all this evidence. Look, I've got all the medical files. Becca doesn't. My Little Pony doesn't know shit. None of you know anything about this case. I know everything about this case. And here, look, I've got all the evidence. And I'm going to, look at me, look at me, look at me. But everything she posts is just drivel. Okay? So, the affected profundity troll enjoys asking themselves questions. Who is that? Bree won't answer any of our questions, but she asks her own. Okay? Sometimes they answer their own questions, and sometimes they leave them hanging, for they believe this looks intelligent and lends an aura of mystery to their incoherent ramblings. Okay? And in this, I'll show you where this page is, and it has the citation for where this troll was first identified. This one was in 2006 in the Ubuntu forums. I used to use that. Ubuntu was free, like free internet. I miss that. I used to use that on my computer because I hate Bill Gates. Okay, the agenda troll. Agenda trolls are those participants who join a forum specifically, hang on, wait for it, to pursue an agenda of their own. Now, what is Bree's agenda? What's Bree's agenda? Protecting Gypsy at all costs. Distracting for Gypsy. All of us are now basically exposing Gypsy every day, exposing her lies, exposing, that this was built for 10 years around Gypsy. Exposing how the media helped. We're just, she can't get away from it. She can't get away from us. So, Bree has an agenda to come into all of your chats. And what happened is we stopped watching her. We stopped in the last few months. I've noticed that we've all stopped posting her shit. When Gypsy did her thing where she was sitting on the floor and she's like, I'm not going on social media. You have what you want. When she was, schmuicidal. So Ken takes her to Texas. Ken, you don't get the girl help? Maybe call a counselor? A hotline? Hi, Peggy. My phone, every time Okay, so that's the agenda troll. All right? When a flame war erupts on another board, for example, agenda trolls will follow their opponents to other forums in order to continue the spat. Who does that? Who does that? Okay? Now, the Amazon troll. They post something negative, be it about the story, the writing, or the grammar, whilst the natural instinct is to respond, it is imperative that you avoid the temptation and instead just take it on the chin. Amazon started selling books. So years ago, that's where Amazon got its start. And so Robert Morrow did this quite a bit. Robert Morrow is the guy that co-wrote the book with Roger Stone. If you go over to Amazon and search his name, you will see where he posted a review. He would post positive reviews about the books that he wanted you to read, which were the anti-Clinton books and all kind of like that shit. And he would post negative reviews on books you should be reading. This was done quite a bit. And Amazon had to stop it because people would make fake profiles and they wouldn't even buy the book, but they would write a review. Okay? Also, this is something that in the CIA memo, in the psych memo to media assets, The CIA told the media to go to everywhere the Warren Commission critics were. They were all writing books. All of these critics, Harold Weisberg, wrote numerous books. Okay, so they told the media assets to go to the book review sites and post a negative review. So I'm going to read the psych memo. The first JFK is going to be the original critics. The artistic troll. A higher species of classic troll. Artistic trolls are intelligent and they understand the subtle art of trolling. They do what they do specifically to make others look foolish. Often employing the techniques of deceptive trolls, artistics will string forms along until some point in time designated by their own desire, at which point they will reveal the ploy, admit that it's a ploy, and laugh at everyone for being stupid enough to fall for it. Do you get what they're doing there? They'll sit there. They'll sit there in a forum, and they'll basically agitate. They'll agitate in the forum, and then when everybody's all riled up and fighting them, then they go, "I was just kidding. I was just playing." The backstalker. This internet troll will pore through your archives until he or she finds something you wrote that contradicts something you've written more recently. It will be pointed out every time you write anything. What does that sound like? Anybody? They're combing through right now, Bree and all of them. They're combing through my internet. They're combing through my Facebook. I have 15 years. I've got millions of posts. I'm going to keep you busy, Bree. They're backstalkers. Okay. The baiter. A special place in hell could be reserved for the baiter. This troll has a serious case of superiority and always an ulterior motive. Whether posting one-off comments or back and forth, the baiter always wants to bring the discussion back to their wheelhouse. A political baiter, such as, will always turn the discussion back to politics, even if the original post is about pandas or the trials of wearing socks with sandals. It could be anything benign, and a political baiter will make comments about the liberal media or liberal elite or anti-intellectual conservatism that takes the original content to a different, often inappropriate contextual level. Okay? I get that quite a bit, because I do a lot of political posts. Like on Twitter, I get that quite a bit on Twitter. The bar friend. How many times have you met someone who is a friend of a friend at a bar or party, only to come home and see a Facebook friend request sitting in your inbox? You don't remember their name. The conversation you had with them was superficial at best. It's obvious they just want to add you to their growing list of friends, and you honestly believe you'll never see them again. I get that a lot. I get like followers, and I'm like, who are you? And see, on Facebook, and I'm starting to do it on TikTok. On Facebook, if somebody follows me, I screen all my followers over there, and I will send a message that says, who the fuck are you and why are you following me? And how they respond to that tells me who they are. Because if they have no nefarious notions, they just say, oh, I saw you over here, and I understand why you're cautious, and this is who I am. If they respond with, how rude. You have to be so rude. I know what they're doing. And so sometimes I'll let those people in, and then they always show themselves. Always. Within usually a couple days to a week, they're calling me a cunt. So, okay, the big man. Driven by order forces, a big man does trolling by posting something pleasing to others to support their worldview. Okay, that's not really in this. The bitter troll. The bitter troll. Bitter trolls are a curious cross species. They can be trolls of any breed, but become bitters after their earlier activities are seen for what they are. What sets these trolls apart from others is their behavior after they have been spotted and labeled as trolls. I've had quite a few of those. Okay, watch when I say you're a troll. Watch. One of the first ones here was when I was, a guy jumped up on my live months ago. And he was painting I think it was Dan Gladwell, quite frankly, because he was painting a Dungeons and Dragons piece while he listened to us. And then he pretended like not to know anything about the subject. And then he ended up knowing a lot about the subject. And when I called him a troll, he freaking snapped on us. Started yelling, and yeah, that's a bitter troll. Okay? They're angry and frustrated and resentful about being outed. The bitter troll will wage a campaign of indignant complaints intended to focus attention away from the troll and on whomever is responsible for identifying the creature. Now, what did we have the other day? Were any of you in my live the other day when Spellbound came up here and she started crying and she started telling me I was bullying her and she wouldn't just leave? She had to continue it going because what they were doing is they were recording my live last night. She even well, down here in chat, she said she had the clip. So when I called her out on that, I said, "What, are you recording my live?" You know, she didn't say nothing. And then she come back up and I said, why are you recording my live? And she said, "I don't have the clip." She goes, "I'm not recording." I said, "So you lied. Down in chat, you lied." She goes, "Yes." She admits she lied. Now we're supposed to trust her? And then after that, she doesn't leave. She starts to cry. And she pulls "I don't know why you're mad at me, Annie. I always like you. I like you. I like you. I don't know why you hate me. I don't know why, you know." And then it was, I'm bullying her. And she actually said, "Yeah, you're bullying me." That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to take that clip, edit it, and spread it all over and say, you go over there just like they did with Boston today. And they told Key, they said, "You support somebody who tells people to unalive themselves." They would have spread that and gone, "All you guys over there listening to Annie's chat, she's just a bully." What did Fancy say to me? Fancy said I was bullying her to release the Dawn emails. Now, how is my saying Fancy release the Dawn emails bullying her? But see, they need to paint, they know what they are. They need to paint you in a negative way. So stop letting them do it. And when y'all get stuff on their panels and stuff, that's another way they're doing it. Because they know that when you go on a live, if I'm following you, it will light up and show me that you're on a live. Like if you're up on, even if you're not hosting, if you are on someone's panel, it will tell me. So that's how I can follow all of you all over the place. And if you're up on a live that Bree's hosting or whatever with all of them, then they know that people down here are going to go, why is they over there with Bree? You're going to question them. So the boomerang. It's the different name, but posts sound familiar. This troll sets up new accounts to keep posting when blocked. Do we have any of those? Do we have any boomerangs? Huh? How many profiles do these people have? When that Aubrey Strawberry used to come into my chats all the time, I'd block her and another would come in 5 minutes. She had one night she had 20 profiles in my chat. That's a boomerang. The bored hater. This guy loves to make problems, usually out of boredom. His posts are vile and hideous for no reason than riling up total strangers. His arsenal includes racism, sexism, homophobia, and religious intolerance. Those are just agitators. Okay? Busters. The busters are obsessive bitters. by whom you could practically set your watch. A buster never forgets, never forgives, and holds a grudge until the day it dies. Also a variant of agenda trolls. Busters move from forum to forum, complaining about the objects of their ire, often cutting and pasting age-old diatribes that have little meaning to most of their audiences. This is what we're getting with the drama. Okay? Billboard drama's been over for, I don't know how many months now. But people will still bring it up in a chat to get the crowd going. To take the take the discussion off the topic you're on and back onto that old bullshit. Those are busters. Cannibal trolls. A troll that spends its time troll baiting other trolls, wasting the time of those intent of wasting the time of others. For instance, a cannibal troll could post something like this. Hi, does anyone know if it's possible to use a background that would essentially turn my computer monitor into a mirror? Scanning a mirror doesn't work. He would do this purposely to attract trolls and feed off the negative comments. For every troll that pays attention to a cannibal troll, another innocent bystander goes unmolested. Chat Room Bob. He's driven by existential forces. A chat room Bob takes part in trolling to gain the trust of other members in order to exploit them. Okay, we have some of those. They'll come in here and I call it blowing smoke up my ass. All right? They'll come in here and they work the room a while. They won't expose themselves for a couple lives or whatever, but what they'll do is they'll gain your trust. That's a form. That's a form of a Trojan horse for me too. We have people in here that are really supporting Gypsy or doing intel for Gypsy, but they're pretending to be anti-Gypsy, and they're pretending to follow my research. They're pretending to find me fascinating. Okay. And here's the thing, guys. I know I'm not fascinating. I know I'm pretty boring, and I'm just an ordinary person out here that reads books. The comment troll. We've all met the comment troll, the delightful little creature who somehow always shows up in comments section of blogs, websites, social media to show off his superior intellect and set the world straight. The comment troll is an expert on all matters and always takes pains to spread his wisdom. He particularly loves to dwell in tech-related realms where he enlightens reviewers and enhances their work with his insights. Were it not for the comment troll, online comment sections might actually be a place for meaningful discussion. Okay, concern troll. I get a lot of these. This is a big one. This is in every single discussion, forum, chat room, everywhere. The concern troll. A person who posts on a blog thread in the guise of concern to disrupt dialogue or undermine morale by pointing out that posters and or the site may be getting themselves in trouble, usually with an authority or power. They point out problems that don't really exist. The intent is to derail, stifle, control the dialogue. It is viewed as insincere and condescending. What I had the other night, remember when the person was in here telling me, you got to be careful because you're going to turn people away that want to learn. That's a concern troll. Okay? I'm not going to turn anybody away. If someone out there sincerely wants to learn, then they are going to seek out places that they can learn from. And they're going to stumble on me. And they're going to say, hey, this woman seems to have a lot of shit. She seems to have, she's building these archives over here on Facebook. She seems to have somewhat of an interest in this case and be somewhat knowledgeable. She's not too overbearing. She's weird, and she could be maybe arrogant and condescending, and she's, a little hard to deal with sometimes, but, maybe I'll stick around and see what she has to say. The concern troll, I got that a lot in the Kennedy shit. Because I was this same person in the Kennedy research, and I called them out on all of their shit. And I wouldn't let the bullshit in the groups, especially once they were turned over to me legally. Okay, I'm responsible for them. So I would get this quite a bit from other researchers that said, we have young people coming into this that have never learned about it, and they want to learn, and you're going to turn them off with your attitude. I've not turned one person off. Not one. So that the other night when they said, you're going to turn people away, that was a concern troll. That's an example of that. The connoisseur troll. The connoisseur troll is full of himself that his head is lodged up his own ass. A movie critic whose only credential is that he watched Citizen Kane once. A friend who considers himself a wine aficionado for being able to discern the difference between Franchia Cabernet and Mike's Hard Lemonade. And the guy who takes it upon himself to note when you mistakenly use good instead of well. In a sentence are all examples of the connoisseur. This troll will use his supposed area of expertise as a weapon to disagree with everybody. The contrarian. I get this quite a bit too. A sophisticated breed, the contrarian frequents boards whose main opinions are contrary to their own. A forum dominated by those who support firearms and knife rights, such as will invariably be visited by contrarian trolls, espousing their beliefs in the benefits of gun control. Copyright trolls. A pejorative term for a party that enforces copyrights it owns for purposes of making money through litigation in a manner considered unduly aggressive or opportunistic. Generally, without producing or licensing the work, it owns for paid distribution. Critics object to the activity because they believe it does not encourage the production of creative works, but instead makes money through the inequities and unintended consequences of high statutory damages provisions in copyright law. See, people don't understand copyright law. So these kinds of trolls can go into a thing and say, hey, I own that. I own that. I'm going to sue your ass. You can't use that. Well, internet, there's creative use, there's free use, there's satire. You have the right to satire and parody. But, people don't understand their rights with relation to using copyrighted material. And a lot of times, this kind of troll doesn't even own what they're claiming to own. We have that a lot in the Kennedy stuff. People will claim that is their intellectual property. Like they'll write a blog. They'll say that is their intellectual property. And so that's too why the TikTok and YouTube have both changed your ability to screen. That's why we're not allowed to do that anymore, because TikTok and YouTube were getting a lot of copyright complaints because people were taking other people's videos and just posting them on their YouTubes. So you can't do that on YouTube or TikTok anymore. No one can record me. So if you're recording me right now, unless I give you permission, there are people that, a couple people today that sent me, people have taken clips and they were of me reading the emails and they were posting them up. I will tell everybody if I give a specific person permission to record me. Right now, no one has permission to record me. And especially Bree, you don't have my permission to record or stream me. Go ahead and do it. Please do it. I will copyright strike you. Crazy troll. This guy just makes no sense. Okay. Posts something about gardening and he claims that all gardeners are women and all women are soul-sucking incubi, who are only out to lure men into bed so they can marry them, then divorce them and take all their money to buy more tomato plants and meth. Okay. I get a lot of crazy. Rogie would be a crazy troll. Okay, Rogie's a crazy troll because he went into a live and actually said Gypsy was never convicted of anything because she took the plea deal. That's a crazy troll. Okay? And he revels in being crazy. He knows he's being crazy. But it's just to draw attention. It's just to, disrupt. All of this, it's to disrupt or agitate, discredit you. The crybaby. If someone says something mean to the crybaby, she'll become hysterical and swear she's never coming back to the board. Of course, you'll see her 3 days later when she slinks back for more abuse. The crybaby often tells on you to the mods and swears she's going to get you banned. Did we have a crybaby yesterday? Did we have a crybaby yesterday? Did we? Did we have somebody up here on panel that used to work with Sweet as Honey and came up here and called me a bully and cried? All right. Crybaby. Okay, there's another crybaby. This internet troll takes everything anyone says super seriously and ends discussions by flouncing off. Despite promises he or she will not return, this troll always comes back. Now, who does that? Who does that all the time when she's up on a panel and someone comes up and she doesn't want to deal with anyone? Bree does that, but who else does that? Fancy does that. She will not want to confront someone. She will attack someone. She's been attacking Nellie and Dinah. But if Nellie and Dinah come in and they're put up on that panel, down she goes. She won't face them. She'll talk about them, till the end of time. But she will not face them. I will tell you what I think of you right to your face. I have a lot of messages with Fancy where I talk nasty about a lot of people in the Gypverse because I thought they were attacking Fancy unfairly. I don't care if she prints them. I'll print them. I'll put every message I ever had with Fancy up in public. I do it with the Kennedy shit, and I'll do it with this. Not going to hide in my PMs. The crier. They tend to take everything as a personal assault and love nothing more than feeling offended. And if they can't feel offended directly, they also love being offended on other people's behalves. You see some of that. The rage quit. Yes, the rage quit. The cuckoo troll. Like most trolls, cuckoo trolls are tortured by a terrible nagging fear that no one will ever take what they have to say seriously. This fear is well justified. Cuckoo trolls try to get around this by mimicking the values of their host. So, for example, they will seek to mislead with comments like, "What makes you think I'm a Labor voter?" Or, "Actually, I'm very open-minded on the subject of climate science." All right? That's the ones where I say they're blowing smoke up my ass. They come in here all complimentary, right? "Oh, Annie, I just love your research. I'm so impressed by you." And then, like, a day later, they'll be attacking me, or they'll be attacking someone down here, and they'll want me to take their side because they love me. No, not going to happen. Okay, the dead kid troll. Prior to the internet, troll garnered images of the Scandinavian mythological creature, a garish monster that lives under bridges and bothers the billy goat's gruff. And if you've heard of the dead kid trolls, it's not hard to see why the name fits. Alexis Pikington was a high school girl that committed schmuicide in 2010, and she was cyberbullied after her death. Friends and relatives had to see comments like, "He was obviously a stupid, depressed who deserved to schmeal herself. She got what she wanted." These types of trolls are certainly the worst. They're extremely unsettling and counter to any healthy grieving process for a lost friend or child. Of the wretched trolls, these are the worst. If you follow true crime cases, you'll see some of that, okay? Usually in like discussion groups online. And these incels will go in there and just to agitate, they'll make horrible comments about the deceased kid. All right. And a lot of times in these, you'll see this over on like Facebook groups that are made for, like that a parent has made for their child. Okay. You saw this a lot in the Sandy Hook families, because Alex Jones was pushing that never happened and those kids didn't exist. And so all of Alex Jones' followers threatened those families. They went into, the Sandy Hook families had memorial pages for their children, and they could not keep them on, they would go in there and spam them and make posts like this, that their child didn't exist, okay? And that they would threaten these. People went to jail because these followers of Alex Jones threatened these Sandy Hook families, okay? We have a form of that in this little tribe, Natasha Cooper, when she put the autopsy pictures of Gannon up on his little naked body up on her Patreon. Natasha Cooper is a dead kid troll. Debbie Downer troll. This type of internet troll likes to showcase his or her unhappiness with the world by bringing you down. You'll see that. You'll see that where, Dreamer was a little bit of this. She just had such a tragic life. And every time she came into the chat, it was just like, you could feel the in the room. Deceptive or classic troll. More sophisticated. They are easily identified and exposed. Classic troll gratifies his ego by pretending to be someone or something he or she is not. The classics make up elaborate stories about themselves, sometimes weaving some amounts of truth into lies. As a web of lies, it's difficult to build with consistency. However, classics are often outed by other forumites. We had one of these in the JFK. Her name was Judith Berry Baker. She claimed to be Lee Oswald's mistress, and she was the one who in 2010 went all over Facebook and said that I was a liar and I was creating all my Oswald groups to discredit her, okay? They're fabulists, okay? Gypsy is a fabulist. Dominion trolls. This is where the troller's strategy extends to the creation and running of apparently bona fide mailing lists. Okay? They'll make claims that, Robert Morrow was a form of this. Robert Morrow would come into our groups and he claimed to have thousands of books, all of these original books. He had a Dropbox where he did have digital books up there, and he would put that Dropbox into forums, discussion forums, and into our groups. And he had copyrighted books in his forum. So all the authors came to me, and the authors would ask him, hey, remove that. That's my book. I own that. I sell that. Please don't distribute it. And he would bully them. So they would come to me and ask me to deal with him. So I started dealing with him, and then 15 years later, this is the result. Don King troll. Related to the affected profundity troll, Don King trolls spout gibberish in the hope that they'll either bore or confuse to death those with whom they disagree. The average Don King troll is a pursuant who gromulates his adversarial computerists with height-defining formulations to the disinterestingest adjunct. My teeth are slipping, so bear with me. Bree is a Don King troll. Do you recognize that? Bree's, yeah, Rogie to some degree too. But Rogie's stupid. The done-it-all. These trolls know and have experienced everything. Their knowledge is paramount, and they will drown you in facts and anecdotes until you just give up. Who was that? Who is our done-it-all? Our expert? Who's that? Hmm? Bree, also fancy. Self-described expert. Oh, Katie Joy, I haven't seen her in probably a year. But yeah, she was one of those too. Okay. The downer. This troll complains about everything. Too much information, not enough information, boring posts. It was better last year. Someone else does it better, and no one listens. I had one in here a couple lives ago. Just wrote boring. And I'm like, I think it was like 2 in the morning. And I'm like, I'm so boring. You're sitting here at 2 in the morning listening to me? Okay, the elder. Driven by escape forces, an elder is an outbound member of the community, often engaging in trolling for newbies, where they wind up the newer members, often without questioning from other members. They're just, basically, they're just agitating. They're agitating that anywhere productive discussion is taking place, this is where you see these. And in the last, I would say 4 months, all the drama is being ignored, and there's a lot of productive discussion taking place. There's a lot of effective videos being made where they're going over the facts, and they're really, really getting on Gypsy's nerves because she can't answer them. So that's why we're seeing a lot of this now, because we're being effective. We're not wasting our time anymore. We're not tolerating the drama and the bullshit and the manufactured stage theater. We're not following it. We're not watching it. We are being effective for the first time in probably 2 years since she got out. Gypsy can't handle that. Gypsy can handle us when we're following her game. She can deal with that. She can handle us. Because all she has to do is sit back and monitor that. She can't handle when we're being effective and we're doing the work. She can't handle that. And that's why she's unraveling. The emotionally charged troll. These internet mole people pop up usually in the form of some other type of troll to make you feel bad by playing on your emotions. That was last night. That was Spellbound. What was she doing? What did she keep saying? I don't know why you're mad at me, Annie. I don't know. I hate Sweetie's Honey more than anything because she destroyed my life for 3 months. How the hell did anyone destroy your life for 3 months? Huh? And do you see what they would have done with that? If I didn't call her out, today you'd be seeing clips of me, and they would be accusing me of bullying her. Lala? I don't... Who's Lala? I don't know her. What is her screen name? Lala 411. I don't know. How do I let her in? If she's... Do I just... Hold on. Let me see if I could go on my other phone for a second. Is she following me, or is she trying to follow me? Lala 411.
So we're at Sephora.
So I don't want to call.
On La. For some reason, my phone put in Lala.
Skip, I love you, Skip. I'm just saying.
I don't know why I would have blocked her.
Okay, one thing you ain't gonna do is talk about Nadatha like that, because Nadatha has done absolutely nothing.
Okay. Nellie, see if she can come in. I do. Back when all of that especially when they were doing the personal stuff about Ivory Rose. Because I've always thought Ivory Rose was just a sweet woman who talks about crime, you know. But when they were saying that shit about her, I was like, I'm done. So I blocked a lot of people that were kind of in that. Like if you were watching it, if you were up on a panel and you were continuing it, I blocked all of you. I blocked Nina a long time ago. I just don't want to look at her. And it's like, you know, and I suspect she's working with Christy Blanchard. I think that's where a lot of these bigger content creators are getting their information. And I just didn't want to. The other thing I have with these big creators is they want you to follow them, but they don't follow you back. I'm following everyone who follows me. Now I will go through eventually and screen. Like if you don't if I have a request in there and you haven't let me, you're gone. All right. If I find out that you're secretly working with, you know, Bree and them, and you're a Trojan horse, you're gone. And I will find you. I will find you. Okay. Did Lala get in? There you are. Okay. Yeah. I probably blocked you if you were up on a panel with the drama and shit. I didn't want to see it. It was nothing personal. I did not want to see it. You know? Like I said, I don't want fighting in here. Because I'm getting lots of people. You're going to be down there in chat, or you're going to see somebody up on my panel who you've had a history with. All right? Let's just put that away. Let's put that all away. Because the only person that benefits is Gypsy. Because if we're in here fighting with each other over old slights, you know, we're not doing the work. We don't get anything done, and she'll win. She'll come back. Let's not give her any ammunition, okay? We've got her. She's at her most vulnerable now. We've got her. Okay, that explains it, Lala. Sweet and Fancy were both my mods. They might have blocked you. Okay. See, I don't know anything about any of your personal relationships on here, you know, anything. So let's agree, not agree to disagree. Let's agree to forget the past. If you really cannot get along with someone in here, you know, the animosity is too much, when they're up on panel, just ignore them. Okay? If you're down there in chat, don't engage with each other. Everybody can get, you know, benefit from this. And everybody down there that's in chat and everybody that's watching me has something to contribute to this. God don't make ugly. We all have a skill, and we all have, you know, we all have something. We're all doing this for some reason. There is some reason that we are still doing this, because we don't have to do this with our days. My God, I got lots of shit I can do with my days. Mainly watch Colin Firth movies on my couch, eating sushi. I'd much rather be doing that than this. But this is also important. Exactly, Nellie. When you walk through my door, because you're coming in my house, when you walk in my house, you're ready to be a team. You're ready to be a family. And everybody in here will protect the family that's here. I don't care if you hated this person, anybody down there. You hated them a month ago. When you're in here, they're your family. If you're going to tell me that you want to do this, you want to be a part of this, then let's do it. And that means we don't let Gypsy divide us. There's no division in here. There's no friction. I don't know. I wouldn't mind it being Ronald McDonald's. I like their hamburgers. Exactly. Right. Too many crime creators are jealous. And you know what? And then there's content creators that don't want to be a community of anything. They're just out for their own agenda. They're out to build their channels. So, you know, guys, you might find that when this is done, or as this is, because I intend this to live on, you might find that those people that you did not like, you end up liking. Because you find out, you know, you have a lot in common. And we all have one thing in common, dealing with Gypsy Rose. So let's, in here we concentrate on that. Okay? And nobody is more important than anybody else, including me. This is my one skill. I organize shit. I'm a Capricorn. We have to have everything in its place. We can't breathe if it's not. Okay? So what I'm going to have you guys do is contribute the data, comb the internet, contribute the data, and then I will put it in the subjects where it goes, and then we're going to take this and grow it into a network that we can attach to Gypsy Rose's name everywhere her name is on the internet. That's my plan for this. Okay, my phone completely this phone keeps reverting back to my screen. And so I have to put my code in. It took me completely out of my thing. Hold on a second. There we are. Okay. I hit a button. Sorry. Where was I at? The emotionally charged troll. We had one of those the other night. You know, I don't know why you're mad at me. The E-Venger. Driven by vengeance forces, an E-Venger does trolls in order to trip someone up so that their true colors are revealed. Yeah, I don't see a lot of that in the gypsies. With the expert we've had, and we know what that is, okay? Knows everything about everything, loves to share his knowledge. In reality, of course, he's an unemployed temp living with his mom. Okay, the fellow blog troll. The fellow blog troll's dream is to have a blog as successful as the one he trolls. Unfortunately, as you can see for yourself, if you're foolish enough to follow the link he provides to his tragically unread blog, he is incapable of expressing himself coherently, interestingly, or amusingly. His tone is bitter, thwarted, envious. Okay? That's Bree. That's Bree. She wants us all over there again. You know, she wants to entice everybody over there. That's why the other night, other two lives, they're sitting outside watching, and then it said a viewer suggests that you co-host with Bree. It kept saying it said a viewer suggests you co-host with Wicked Whispers. Yeah, and I get multiple of those in a night. Like they think I'm going to go, oh, that's a good idea. Let me give Bree control of my chat. Because when you co-host, you give someone control of that chat. You're giving them partial control. So, yeah, that's a good idea. Look what happened when Justin let Bree up. Look what she did. All right? And then look at them on Keys Live today. They would not answer any questions, and then they flounced off. And they went over and they talked about all of them. Nobody's watching you anymore, Bree. That's why you're pissed, because no one's watching you. The Flamer has no interest in the topics discussed, just wants to cause trouble for their own amusement to lift daily grind boredom. That comes from Flame Wars. When AOL started up and we were all in chats and everything, the trolls would start Flame Wars just to cause trouble, just to irritate us so that we would leave. They wanted us off the internet because we were invading their home. They lived on the internet. They knew how to run the internet. They knew how to write code. And all us idiot You know, they had to make it user-friendly for all of us. The tech guys were pissed. So they went in and they trolled discussions and they did flame wars. So that's what a flamer is. A flamer troll just jumps in and just starts trouble. Bree does that quite a bit. They did it in Keys Live today. They weren't even talking about nothing. They saw Boston up on her panel. They all jumped in. There were like 10 of them. They jumped in and just started attacking Boston in the chat. Then they jumped up on the panel, started attacking Boston. And Key was like, that wasn't the discussion. And then they wouldn't answer Key's question. And then they flounced off and did their own live and talked about Key in Boston. Okay? So those are flamer, they do flamer trolling. Okay. The flirt. Driven by social forces, a flirt takes part in trolling to help others be sociable, including through light teasing. The flutter. The flutter tries to break forms by posting the same lame thing over and over and over and over and over and over, like just LOL. You know, they'll post the same thing. They'll copy and paste it, post it up. They're spamming the chat. All right. The forum cultist. Okay, somebody pay attention to the chat because I'm not seeing it. The forum cultists are extremely proud of the incredible internet communities to which they belong. They pride themselves on the exclusivity of those communities and actually believe it can't happen to them. It, of course, being their own banishment. Forum cultists place a very high premium on groupthink and generally react to differing opinions with outrage, banning all who dare to speak them. Bree does this. When I just bounced into the live because she had me unblocked, and I just was scrolling. It was like 2 a.m. That's where she said, JFK Annie. She put attention to my name. I didn't. I was just going to sit there and look. I just think it's rude to lurk on the outside, you know. But yeah, Dreamer can be, Hannah. But they block every, you know. So I said, Bree invited me up on panel and I wouldn't go. I said, no, I'm not going up on your panel because I knew what she wanted. She wanted people to see me up there and then everybody go, is Annie with Bree now? You know? So I sat down there and I asked her a question. I said, is it true that Dee Dee controlled, or Dee Dee never let Gypsy out of her sight? Because then I was going to continue that. She wouldn't answer. She said, I said, answer my question. She said, I don't see your question. What'd you ask? I asked it again. Her mod said, tone it down, JFK Annie. I said, you know, answer my question. Then Bree said, TikTok's probably screening your question. I said, so I put it in all caps. I said, is it true that Dee Dee never let Gypsy out of her sight? And the mod, it was at MLF or whatever, or MFL, she blocked me. That's the cult. They don't want to answer any of your questions because they can't. And we are starting to ask really good questions. You know, all of these videos that people are doing, we're starting to ask questions like a detective would, like the interrogator would. That's why the Barney shit. You know, the Barney shit. They want us to talk about this Karma guy thinking the Barney doll was an animatronic. They want us to do that, okay? They don't want us to point out that interrogator asked Nick about the Barney doll. Because that interrogator wanted to know something. Wanted to know if Gypsy was in that room is what he wanted to know. Because they knew that Nick was protecting her. Exactly. Cowbell. No detective asks questions about never. I don't know what that means. Cowbell, aren't you a Gypsy supporter? Didn't I see you on another profile? There you go. This is a Gypsy supporter. All right. Are you a Gypsy supporter, Cowbell? And how many profiles do you have? Because this isn't the profile I saw you on. So we're discussing trolls tonight, Cowbell. Do you have anything that you'd like to add to the discussion? Since you're here trolling, maybe you can give us your expert experience. Cowbell? Anything to say? No, we have a special guest, guys. Ah, my question is ridiculous. Why? Why is my question ridiculous, Cowbell? Oh, guys, this is an example. Like, okay, the question cannot be answered, hyperbole and exaggeration. Okay, actually, I'm going off Bree's quote. Hang on, horse. Give me a minute. Let me have some fun, horse, please. Do you think every second of Dee Dee's life was monitored? Are you serious? Give me a minute, guys. Give me a minute. Please. Okay. Okay, Cowbell. The reason I asked that question is because Bree said that. Go back to Bree's past lives, and Bree said, Dee Dee never let Gypsy out of her sight. That's what Bree said. My little friend? Cowbell, you're being so fucking helpful. Really, I can't thank you enough for coming into my discussion on trolls and giving this glaringly wonderful example of a troll. I just, Nelly. Yeah. Okay. Cowbell, let's discuss this for a moment, and I'll explain why I asked that question. Hold on, my cat. Look out. Move down. Okay. Bree said on a live, not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, she said on a live that Dee Dee never let Gypsy out of her sight. So I want to know if Bree believes that. Because if Bree believes that, then I want to ask Bree how Gypsy made hundreds of videos, fetish videos, without Dee Dee seeing them. How did Gypsy make all those videos without Gypsy seeing them? Or how did Gypsy make the videos in Dee Dee's bedroom, by the way? Okay. How did Dee Dee miss 3 years of internet back and forth where they were plotting her murder? You're so full of shit. Yeah, she was referring to her younger years. Really? Really? You're so full of shit, Cowbell. Go ahead, dig a hole. Keep digging the holes. Keep digging the holes. Exactly, Misha. Edited them including credits. Okay. I'm going to give you that. Bree was talking about her formative years. So then that means what you're saying is formative years. Give me a time. Is formative years birth to 14 before they moved? Is that what you're talking about? Where she was never let out of her sight? Okay. let's analyze this for a minute, Cowbell. Gypsy said that her mother controlled her, and that's what she had to escape from, right? Her total control. So, if Dee Dee was just never letting her out of her sight during her formative years, then from 14 to 24, when the murder happened, Dee Dee was not controlling her. You know? Okay, so that's what you're saying. From 14 to 24, Dee Dee was not controlling her. Dee Dee let Gypsy out of her sight from 14 to 24. Yes, you did say that, because you said that Bree was talking about her formative years. What are her formative years? That would be birth to 14. Okay? Or hang on a second. Answer this, Cowbell. Answer this. You said Bree was talking about her formative years. Now, you can't change it up now. Now, answer this. Riddle me this, Batman. Gypsy was 17 years old when they moved into the pink house. She was pretending to be paralyzed, and she was pretending to be 12. So, would that be a formative year, 12? Is 12 a formative year? So was Dee Dee controlling and never letting Gypsy out of her sight in 2008 when they moved into the pink house? Because in 2009, when Gypsy was 18 and pretending to be 13 and a paralyzed child, she was sending naked pictures to the men at VisionCon. Okay, so Gypsy was pretending to be 12 in 2008. Right? Is that not right, Cowbell? Is it not printed in the newspaper when they had that big press release when they moved into the house and they were on television that Gypsy's 12 years old? Did the men at VisionCon think that Gypsy was 13 years old when she was sending them the naked pictures? You don't have any answer for 2008, 9, 10, and 11, do you? You don't have any answer for Gypsy having those profiles. How is that relevant? Because it proves Gypsy had sexual agency. It proves her mother never controlled her. It proved her mother never did any of the things that she claims. It proves that Gypsy was never afraid of her mother because she pew-pewed her in the face in 2011. It proves that the characters that Gypsy used to groom Nick, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. Yes, it does, and you fucking know it does. That's why Gypsy has to handle me. And she can't. You can't, no. I'm going to be Bree. I don't see your question. Maybe TikTok is screening your question. You cannot defend or spin Gypsy's lies anymore. All right? Gypsy's book, what does she say? On the stand, what does she say about these characters? The Ruby, Candy, she describes them all. What does she say on the stand? They were created for Nick's alternate personalities. Nick didn't have any alternate fucking personalities. He didn't have any. He had Victor, that he called his dark side. There wasn't a dark side and Victor. That's factual goddamn evidence and factual reality. And you can't distort it or change it. What does that have to do with anything? Okay, let's see. The Ruby character writes to Nick, and she says, Master, I did send those naked pictures to these men. She's referring to the naked pictures in 2009. I did send these naked pictures to these men. I had just emerged in Gypsy at the time, and I used her hand and body to take the pictures and send to these men because I wanted attention. So what Gypsy is admitting right there is that Ruby, the character of Ruby, existed in 2009. So it couldn't have been created before she even met Nick. The Candy character is the one that was sent, that her father saw, that Mia saw in 2011. When Gypsy sent her 10-year-old sister to Dan Gladwell's Facebook account when she was having a BDSM dominant submission relationship with. When she lambasted her father. When the microdeletion was diagnosed. You know, the one that you expected Dee Dee to take her to a specialist for, when it wasn't even discovered until 2008. All right? So let's go into the Dawn emails now. How did Gypsy know about Dawn at all? How'd she know about that? How did she know to tell Nick not to trust Dawn? Because Gypsy sent Nick a birthday card, told him not to trust Dawn, according to NPG. Now, we know that Gypsy knew about Dawn because she tells Ken about Dawn. She tells Ken that Dawn and Fancy are going to go up on Dr. Oz, so we know Melissa Moore knew about Dawn. Now, what were they trying to do? They were trying to get Nick to say he had multiple personalities because Gypsy had just lied on the stand that those personalities were created for him. But I've just proven that they weren't. Because Candy existed in 2011 and Ruby existed in 2009. Come on, fuckers. Challenge me. Come on. Challenge me with your stupid. Did she leave? Or he? I don't even know if it's a he or her. No, to Hannah, I don't believe that Fancy told her. Because Fancy would not have had the details on how to groom Nick like Gypsy did. Fancy was in on it. No, he's not getting me upset. Guys, these guys can't get me upset. Because they're stupid. They don't have valid points. They're stupid. Guys, I'm just showing you an example. This is a living, breathing example right here of what we're talking about. Do you see that? Okay, can you tell me if you see it? Do you see it? Now, there's no reason for that person to be in here. They're in here because primarily we discussed Gypsy Rose. I don't know. I don't know, Michelle. I don't see a red and blue ball turning. Okay. Harsh, just every once in a while let me have some fun. Okay? Especially when we're talking about trolls and a troll just dances in the chat. Okay, did they leave? Or you can block them now. But guys, that is, I recognize that profile, and that's the secondary account. That's not the account that he trolled with me with before. So, see, that's the thing. We can block them. They got 100 profiles. Okay, where was I? The fraud troll. This person claims any number of things to gain the sympathy of the world and have none of the problems he or she claims to have. Okay, also known as the romance scammer. This is another form of fraud troll. or the deposed Nigerian prince. I get quite a few of these on TikTok. The fraud takes pleasure in robbing people of cash and self-respect. If your friends warn you that something's hinky, pay attention. The frost troll. Like an infantile child who proudly sits in his own shit, the frost troll's social ineptitude makes it nearly invulnerable to criticism. Its Achilles heel is the rejection it faced as youth. Maybe it was that rather unfortunately timed cold sore outbreak, which was forever memorialized in the high school yearbook, or that embarrassing first-time experience with the poor girl's armpit. Okay, the frost troll taking its name from the loathsome scrim creature, you should tread carefully with the frost troll. These are the sort of guys who have convinced themselves that being an asshole qualifies as a legitimate sense of humor. The breed consists of those who blow cigarette smoke into a cancer survivor's face, or who even more offensively wear an Ed Hardy V-neck. Okay, the genuinely funny troll. I have been guilty of this one. I admit. I have done some trolling in my day. The concept of trolling isn't necessarily wrong. Sometimes people say stupid things and they deserve to be gently ribbed. Occasionally you'll see someone write something you don't agree with, and of course you have the right to reply. Keep your tongue in cheek, don't be cruel, and wonderful things can happen. I am pretty witty, so I've been the genuinely funny troll. Just to kind of lighten, the atmosphere in the room, because everybody can get so serious in these discussions. Okay, the ghost. Once you become friends with people on Facebook, I think you enter an agreement of sorts. You both decide to interact with each other, and most importantly, you both decide to use the service. They don't have a profile picture. The only information that's filled out in their profile is their name and birth date. They're a member, but not really. We get a lot of those. Those are the ones with no picture, the user profiles, the ones, and those really have, okay, I might get a couple of those that are just, scrolling and they run across my thing and they find me interesting for some reason, but, for the most part, those ones, I call them dummy profiles, they're nefarious. They've got an agenda. We all have seen this. The grammar hag chooses to pop in and out of your life to point out when you've misused a particular word, phrase, or used the wrong context. This troll always does so with a very satisfying flourish. We get a lot of those. Okay, that's the same as the grammar Nazi. Griefers, a common type of troll found on forums and online games, where they take on very different meanings. Griefers exist to cause problems and stir up large-scale flame wars. Rude, abusive, and downright cruel, many griefers do this to provoke their victims into a response. Yeah, I'll get a lot of that. They are trying to provoke me. But when I just did that, I wasn't provoked. I wasn't angry. I'm just letting them know, come on and play with me. You're going to lose. And look what he did. He left. Because he had nothing to say. He had nothing to combat when I go back to the 2011 shit. Because the 2011 shit has always debunked, destroyed her claims. Always. So always go to 2011. Always go to the BDSM fetish play. Always go to Dan Gladwell. Always go to Ruby sending the naked pictures to the men when the men thought she was 13 years old. It kills the Gypsy didn't know her own age bullshit. Because if Gypsy did not know how old she was in 2009 and she really thought she was 13 years old, what explains her thinking it was okay to send naked pictures to men? Huh? What explains that? She just sexually promiscuous? Did Dee Dee control that? And if Dee Dee was controlling everything she did, and she couldn't get out from under Dee Dee's thumb, and Dee Dee controlled her completely, and she had to escape because her life was torture and prison, as the prosecutor, her life was prison, okay? How did Dee Dee miss the naked pictures to all those men at VisionCon who were treating them like local celebrities? You see how 2011 and prior to that destroys all of Gypsy's lies. Every single one. Because if we're going to believe that Gypsy did not know how old she was, and she thought she was 13, hold on. My cat, get up. Okay. You know, if we're going to believe that she really thought she was 13 in 2009, then you have to accept that Gypsy thought she was 13 years old and it was okay to get naked and send pictures to those men. Here's what I think is going to happen down the road. Gypsy's going to all of a sudden claim, my mother made me do all of that. My mother made me go in the shed and dress up like a little girl and go online and blackmail men. That's coming. That's coming. Mark my words. And when it comes, somebody clip that part of the live right now. Somebody clip that part of the live. Because when she does that, I want you guys to push that out. Okay? Because that's the... All right, she already went years ago and went over on Reddit and said that, built up that Gypsy, or that Dee Dee was a PDF file because Rod was younger. They've been pushing that. That's even in her book. She tries to insinuate that. She said it in chats. Okay? I definitely see that coming. So when that comes, I want you all to call her on it. Okay. Okay, I was at Griefers. Okay. I need to run to the bathroom a minute. So can you guys all either chat down there if somebody wants to come up and run it for 10 minutes? I will be right back. Okay. All right, can everybody hear me? Everything okay? Okay, let's not start anything, please. Okay, I don't know if you were not here yet, Michelle. Basically, we're leaving all grievances at the door when you come in here. If you've had past history with anybody, please don't do it. Start it up again down in my chat. Okay? Like if you have a question for Nellie pertaining to Dee Dee or whatever, you know, her expertise is with the situation, that's different. But if any of you are going to bring up, you know, remember a month ago when you said this and I said that and you said this, please don't. Okay? Okay? Yeah, because, you guys, I'll give you a lot of shit to be pissy with me about. All right, Michelle, I don't, you know, or take it up with each other in PMs. That's an idea. PM each other and settle your differences. Because, you know, what I say today's Sunday. It's snowing, I'm cranky, it's cold, I don't have heat in my house, you know. I might spout off and say some shit that some of you don't like. You know? So it's time now, guys. It's time to put all that away and do the work and be effective. Because we are, for the first time that I've seen in 2 years, we're being effective. And she's fucking scared. She's shitting her pants every damn day. Let's keep that happening. Oh, gone wandering. I had my basement flooded, like waist-high water. And because I'm on a corner of the neighbor, and I got the water from both directions. And so I get all the water from the street. They've done rain gardens, so they fixed it. But a couple years ago, it took my furnace out. And it's like $10,000 to get a new furnace, and I don't have that. So I just winterproofed to the whole house. I've got windows boarded up, and I use kerosene heaters and radiant heaters. So pretty soon you'll see silver behind me because I reflect all the heat back. I can keep this room at 65. It is 30. I am in Columbus, Ohio. It is 36 degrees here tonight. It snowed a little bit, just a dusting here. But no, I hibernate every winter. Like I'll block rooms off. I've got all my vents are covered. I've got everything all the windows are bubble wrapped and double layered. That's why I've got tapestries behind me, because there's quilts behind there, and that's insulating the wall. And I have heated blankets, and I'm comfy. You know. Yeah, I've got to watch when it goes down to 25 because I got to turn my water off because my pipes will freeze. I've been to Zanesville, Lala. Yeah, Pataskala. I know Pataskala too. Then we'll have lunch someday. I'm in Linden, right in the middle of Columbus, Ohio. Okay, so where was I? Do you remember what troll I was on? Okay, I got, all right, we get these quite a bit. The harasser. Cross this troll and they will find and post your address, weight, and financial information on every platform in existence. Who's that sound like? Huh? The hate monger. One of the most nauseating types of trolls is the hate monger. This commenter blasts the internet and otherwise civil discussion with hate speech, be it sexist, racist, homophobic, or otherwise. The hate monger reflects the ignorant dregs of humanity. You'll see them everywhere, but particularly virulent is their presence on forums that children can easily read and those aimed at politico-societal discussion. The hater. They don't need a motive. They just move from victim to victim, saying not very nice things, making you feel like you've done something to deserve it. The holy misroller. Holy misrollers are those online forum participants who give Christians or other religious adherents a bad name. The HM believes himself or herself to be a Christian and will generally tell anyone who'll listen about his or her faith in God and Jesus. At the same time, the HM will display decidedly unchristian behavior, often making an ass out of himself or herself. The HM is often characterized by a great deal of anger and hostility. This is the ones that come in and tell me, you need Jesus. You're just filled with hate. You're obsessed with Gypsy. You need to leave her alone and let her live her life. And you need Jesus. That's the holy roller. The honorable nitwit. Honorable nitwits absolutely love to speak about honor. This breed invokes the concepts of honor, integrity, humility, and other traits straight from the Boy Scout oath more often than a Klingon warrior on antidepressants. Honorable nitwits are convinced that everyone around them suffers from a lack of honor, an idea they thoroughly fail to understand in attempting to use its lack to smear others. See, the goal of a troll is to just disrupt, agitate, destroy a group. They will come into a Facebook group and do this kind of stuff to try to get the group taken down, because Facebook monitors all of the groups, whether they're public or private, especially public groups. So we're going to see this when I build this and I take it over to Facebook and I network it with all of the other public groups that I'm making about the Gypsy case, because I've got a group on the prison emails. I've got a group on all the media stuff. I've got I'm going to separate this into different groups, network them all together. This is what we're going to see. If we don't monitor those groups, then we're going to they'll put PORN in them. They'll spam the groups to try to get them removed. That's going to be, they will attack this, because this is going to be an ongoing, permanent web legacy to tell the story of Dee Dee Blanchard. And Gypsy cannot have that, because if the public understands that it was all a lie, then the public will know they were fooled to have empathy for Gypsy, and they're going to be pissed. That's why I want to have that one woman over here she used to support Gypsy, and now she's doing really effective, angry videos on Gypsy. I want to have her up here to explain how mad she is now and why she's so mad, because the rest of the public is going to be the same way. And that's what everybody needs to understand. Gypsy's over. Gypsy, you're over. And we need to keep our foot on her neck and not let her get up. So we don't have time for past, hurt feelings. We don't have time for that anymore. So leave that at the door if you come in here. If you want to go fight out there, go fight out there. When you come in here, you leave it at the door. The I'm better than you and you're a moron troll. This type of troll isn't out of control crazy, just more condescending and smug. This troll looks for picky things to criticize as justification for why you are an idiot, with the mental capacity of a sea cucumber. These trolls will also take time to spell out specific reasons why they are too good, talented, smart to listen to you. That's Bree. What is Bree saying? I have all of this. You don't have anything. I have all the evidence. I've seen everything. I know everything about Gypsy. You know nothing. None of you know anything. The iconoclast. Driven by destructive forces, an iconoclast takes part in trolling to help others discover the truth, often by telling them things completely factual, but which may drive them into a state of consternation. They may post links to content that contradicts the worldview of their target. The idiot troll. This internet troll responds to every post you write with things a blithering idiot or teenager would say. The idiot. You haven't seen them since you were 14. You're suddenly wondering why you accepted their Facebook friend request. They comment on your pictures of the Eiffel Tower, telling you how much they love Blackpool. Okay, the internet radio media troll. These are a variant of the internet troll describing internet radio show hosts. They're networks, listeners who use online media platforms and social sites to defame, humiliate a person, group, cause, or belief. Unique to their profile is how they provoke and encourage their listeners to engage in the same vitriolic behaviors. Unlike internet trolls who act alone or in small groups, internet radio trolls manipulate as many listeners as possible to join in their cyber attacks. That's where you're getting the big YouTube content creators who bully, who have discredited all the content creators. Okay? That's the internet radio troll. I'm not going to mention any names. Okay. Yeah. The IRL troll. IRL stands for in real life to all you AFK people. Troll is the type of person that acts like an internet bottom feeder in everyday life. It's someone that spends too much time in front of a glowing screen, or perhaps it's just someone who burned their mother's copy of Emily Post. These are the people that you're not entirely sure should be at every single dinner party, and it's getting a little strange that they're always there. So, okay, I get these a lot. I get these quite a bit. Okay, especially when I was over in the Gypsy Rose discussion chat that had 36,000 members. I got these every fucking day. Because I would write a long post with all my receipts in it, you know, and just leave it there. The I didn't read what you said, but here's what I think troll. He doesn't read your piece. He doesn't need to. He knows what he thinks already, and what he knows is he hates everything you stand for, and you're wrong. And he's going to say so every column you write, regardless of the fact that the paucity of recommends he gets prove him to be a total Billy No-Mates. Okay, yeah, these I got constantly. I would post, and they would come in there and say, you know, do you know Gypsy Rose in real life? You don't know Gypsy Rose, and I'm not reading that. I'm not reading that book you just wrote. Okay, here's one, guys. Just Katie, asking me if I'm related to Karma Collector. Hi, Just Katie. How you doing? What kind of a troll would Katie be? We've listened tonight. What do you think? What type of troll? We might not have gotten to her yet. She's comparing me. She's asking me if I'm related to Karma Collector. Now, who's Karma Collector? Karma Collector is this guy, you know, who Gypsy wants you to follow because he's crazy and you can debunk him. You know, so, oh, you're the best kind, Katie, really? Okay, so she's giving it up right out the gate. What should we do? Should we let her show her ass? Your foil's hat smashed. My hat's not foil. It's cotton cloth. And it's got a Klimt painting on it. Well, let's see. Let's see who she is. She's got 464 following her. Oh no, she's following for it. She only has 146 followers. Okay, I'll let her show her ass just a little bit, and we'll see what kind of troll she is. Are you getting it? Are you all getting it? There's no reason this person should be in my chat tonight. None. Absolutely none. This person should not know who I am. This person should not know that I exist. Come on, Katie, show your ass. I'll give you 5 minutes. Do your damnedest. We're waiting. Let's go. Let's see your wit. Come on. You said you were the best kind of troll. Show us what you got. Well, Well, she gave up the gig right away when she asked me if I was related to Karma Collector. Please. Yeah, I'm kind of bored. Quite frankly, I was expecting more. I was waiting for her to put me in my place. You know? Come on, sweetie. Okay, let's do this. Let's stop wasting our fucking time. Okay. They got dozens more. Okay. Okay. So let's go back to what we were doing. Okay. So let's go back to what we were doing. Am I here? My phone my phone turned off. Okay. Where were we before we were so rudely interrupted? In all honesty, I expected more. There's only been 2 so far, unless we've got some laying down there in chat or watching from the outside. You know, in all honesty, I don't know why they bother. You would think that my reputation precedes me. You know, the concern troll the other night told me that I need to change my attitude because I'm going to turn people away. Well, if my attitude is so well known, why are they doing this? Why are they bothering to come in here when they know they're just going to show their hand in like a minute? What are they achieving? Because I don't see anything. I don't see the payoff other than showing us who you are so that we can catalog your ass. Okay, the just don't get it troll. Just don't get it troll is the feeblest form of troll. In fact, he hardly qualifies as a troll at all because he doesn't understand what proper trolling is all about, or indeed the interweb thing is really for, or anything. He often begins his rants with, "I can't believe you get paid for writing this rubbish," or "How disgraceful that a fine newspaper like the Telegraph should allow its reputation to be sullied by such bilge." Okay? That might have been a just don't get it troll. Because she just didn't get it. It's like she jumped in here and then went, "Oh fuck, I don't know what I'm doing." You know, it's like jump in here and then second guessed it. Okay, we've done it. The lame teenager. The lame teenager responds with clever sayings like, "I know you are, but what am I? And I'm rubber and you're glue." Sometimes the lame teenager is really a 40-year-old guy who can't think of anything better to say. We get these. "Let me hijack your post to tell my horrible story," internet troll. These mole people almost always leave you wondering why they left you the comment at all, except that you're now probably feeling guilty for being upset about anything ever. They come in and they hijack the chat. Okay? They, and they make it all about them. Who do we have that did that? Every time they're up on a chat, they hijack it and make it all about them. Who did we have? Yeah, somewhat. But, I mean, for long term in this, who did we have? Exactly, Breezy Bunny. The liar is the most common troll. He loves to lure in brainless high school girls by pretending he's a romantic 20-year-old sensitive poet. The liar is fairly harmless as long as you don't get set up an IRL meeting, an in real life meeting. I had one of those a long time ago when I first got online. I was in all of these chats, and there was this guy. He was a romance scam, and he was talking to all these women. And he was a poet. He would write poetry for these women. So I found out what he was doing, and I was online with him, and I bounced him into a chat with all of the women that he was talking to. So, we get into this chat, and all these women just pop in, and they're like, why am I here? Who is this? And I outed him as talking to all of them, okay? And I felt a little bad, but he was also cheating, okay? So, all these women just went on him. The next day, because I've always been open online and with my contact information. The next day, I got a phone call from a woman, and she thanked me. She goes, I don't know who you are. She says, but I just want to thank you because I was going to leave my new baby and my husband for this man. He said he was going to come and fly her out of there. She was going through postpartum depression, and, she was just unhappy, and she's like, I was really going to do that. And so that's my online life has always been about, if I could, helping people learn, helping people understand, helping people to stay safe, So these assholes think they're going to, trip me up. But, God, did you see that just now? What did he use? What did they use? Karma Collector. What did Spellbound do the other night? She brought in Karma Collector, and I said, I don't want it here. Because they're using that to discredit all of us. I'm very safe, guys, now. I've got 100,000 likes. Okay, the line crosser. In the words of Joey Tribbiani, you're so far past the line you can't even see the line. The line is a dot to you. They hide behind their online persona and think this means the usual rules of society don't apply. We have tons of those that don't want to show who they are. They hide behind the avatar, and they think, I'm protected behind this. Nobody can see me, so I can say and do whatever I want. Well, no, I can see you. Because, you guys got to realize, when you create your online persona, most of you create screen names that are personal, so you'll remember them. Your screen names are personal to you. Gypsy, when she's doing her screen name, she's using the same numbers. So that number must mean something to her. I don't know what. When you sign on to any social media site, you have to use usually a Gmail or, some form of email. That's where I'll see a lot of people still using Hotmail. When I still see people using AOL or Hotmail, I'm a little suspicious of them because that usually means they're a troll. And but if I have your screen name and if I have your Gmail, I can usually find your phone number. If I have your phone number, I can find everything about you. And that includes all of your addresses you've ever lived at, all of your family and relatives and associates, all of your phone numbers you've had, all of your emails you've ever had, and, everything. I can find literally everything about you because we have given our privacy away when you sign on to the internet. My parents did too, lovely. My mom and dad still used, before they passed, they still used AOL. I used to go to their house and it's like, oh my God. It was, but it's user friendly. Okay, the lurker. We got these. Driven by surveillance forces, lurkers make silent calls by accident, clicking on adverts or like buttons, using referrer spoofers, reporting posts modifying opinion polls, or user kudos scores. We got lurkers. It's the lurkers out there. Okay, I tell people all the time on Facebook, when you like a post, that's tagging. A lot of times that's tagging a post so that they can come back to it. There's trolls operating in like the JFK groups, they're tag teams. So if I'm, really dealing with them and they can't handle me, then they'll tag team they'll leave and they'll tag team another person in that's been sitting in the chat waiting, You get a lot of tag team trolls, and they are usually lurkers. Will you stop? I don't know what is with this cat. Oh, maybe she's cold because it snowed. This first time it snowed. Okay, the marketing genius. The marketing genius is absolutely convinced that you are profiting from your participation in an internet forum. If you have a link or a graphic block in your signature, the marketing genius just knows that this is your subtle attempt to assert your hypnotic powers on other bulletin board participants, luring them with the siren song of your complex and inscrutable advertising of your site. That's you saw a lot of that. When the fighting over the finances of Billboard came, you had a lot of marketing people saying, about the money. Because anytime people are making money online, that's a way of attacking them. That's a way of discrediting them. Because you can say, oh, they're just here to make money. They're using, and Gypsy uses this all the time. She uses this accusation, you're all making money off me. She always says that. The Metro, easily identified by its complete absence of originality and creativity, the Metro is common, but a minor threat. It relies upon the beating of dead horses and archaic stereotypes when attempting comedy. Consider the guy who cannot help but offer grape soda to his black friend, or who depends upon making fun of Justin Bieber, and you'll get the idea. At best, he'll get a few nervous chuckles. Okay? The MHBFY Jenny, driven by forgiveness forces. The MHBFY Jenny takes part in trolling to help people see the lighter side of life and to help others come to terms with their concerns. That was sort of spellbound the other day. It's okay. She knew her background. She knew right out the gate that I didn't trust her because I said, I don't trust you. Why should I trust you? Based on our history, why should I trust you? And she's like, I don't care if you trust me or not. Well, yeah, she did. Because then later on, she was sort of begging for forgiveness. She's like, I don't know why you hate me. And then it turned into, you're bullying me. So all of this stuff is subtle. Yeah, she actually, I don't think she was really crying. Okay? Because she cried when she said, Sweet as Honey destroyed my life for 3 months. So, that must not be too bad because your life was only destroyed for 3 months. I can handle a destruction of my life for 3 months. Roger fucking Stone's been in the outskirts of my life for 15 years. I can handle 3 months of Sweet as Honey not talking to me. All right. The mutt, alternatively known as dogs or yapping dogs. Mutts are pack animals characterized by their loud barking, repetitive and usually ignorant and irrational criticism of anything and anyone they do not like. Mutts often become obsessed with a few or even a single poster with whom they disagree, often for purely personal reasons, like a dog gnawing at a bone. The mutt will attack the object of its ire over and over, making a fool of itself in the eyes of those who understand such childish behavior for what it is. We saw a lot of that in the drama. The Nellie McNeggerson. Nellie likes to show her displeasure by negging every Craigslist post you make, regardless of its content. If you say cool, she'll neg you. If you say thanks, she'll neg you. She might even create multiple accounts so she can neg you 4 or 5 times. Yeah, we get quite a bit of that. Just that, I call it the pecker. They just peck, 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 because that's what they're doing. They're coming in here and they're peck, 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 because they want to get a rise out of me. You know, they want to irritate me. That's what a troll is. It's an irritant. Peck, 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 till you blow up. Most people don't have a high tolerance, and they'll blow up, and that's what they want. That's their reward. The never give up, never surrender troll. This troll is always right, and will battle to the death to prove it. There is no point in trying to fight her. If she can't back something up with reality, she'll make something up just to show you how wrong you are. Who's that? That's a Bree. All right? No matter what you say to her, no matter what facts you give her, no matter what reality you show her, doesn't matter. She's never going to back down from her version of events. Okay. Never going to give you up, troll. This internet troll's right always, and this troll will never ever stop telling you why. Doesn't matter how many times you argue, this troll's right. It's a right fighter. The new service addict. They became a friend of yours on MySpace or maybe followed you on LiveJournal, and ever since then you've wanted to be your friend on social networks, on every social network known to man. Sometimes you catch a serious one who signs up for all the newest services before anyone, and they immediately send out invites like they're passing out candy to kids on Halloween. I get quite a bit of these. I get quite a bit because of my work. I get followers who follow me all over the web. I get lots of those. A lot of them are innocent, and they really just are interested in my work. Others are not innocent. They are following me because they have to, because I'm their job. Not a trolls. Not everyone expressing a dissenting opinion on your website is an internet mole person. That I need to remember. Not everybody's a troll. A lot of them are, but not all of them are. The off-topic trolls. Unclear as to whether these trolls are actually people or spam bots. We are getting a lot of those. Since 2016, we are getting a lot of spam bots. And the spam bots can't actually troll in a chat. The old warrior. The old warrior has been there and done that. He has little time to spare for those who have not been there and done that. The old warrior has been there and done that to such an extent, in fact, that he is always right. Anyone who disagrees with him, therefore, is wrong, by definition, and should shut the hell up. The old warriors place a very high premium on one's credentials relevant to the subject matter discussed, failing to understand the logical fallacy of appeals to authority. The old-time nobody. Social networks provide a slew of opportunities to connect with old friends, but that doesn't mean you need to befriend your third-grade buddy, Bill, whom you haven't had a discussion with in 20 years. Usually they mention a time in your life the two of you shared when you were kids. Maybe it's not the end of the world, but it does get a bit awkward when they remember the time and you don't. The overtly reflective troll. If you've never known some troll, usually armed with an acoustic guitar... Okay, if you've ever known some troll, usually armed with an acoustic guitar, who speaks in an unnecessary soft tone and refuses to use any other adjective but deep or meta, you are familiar with the overtly reflective troll. It will tirelessly comment on the state of our existence and leave your nostrils with the overpowering stench of an overcrowded but well-fed bullpen. The overtly reflective troll doesn't really believe it's drivel, but just wants you to make you look bad in front of the ladies. The patent troll. A patent troll uses patents as legal weapons. Instead of actually creating any new product or coming up with new ideas, these trolls are in the business of litigation, or even just threatening litigation. They often buy up patents cheaply from companies down on their luck who are looking to monetize what resources they have left, such as patents. The peacemaker. Arguing with a troll is a dangerous game, but it turns out that some internet commenters are in fact normal people with unprecedented levels of common sense. You will see that. And sometimes they are just, they just want to bring the chat back to, so they're the peacemakers. I think I have some of those in here. You're not trolls, really. You want to keep the chat on focus, on target. So you're down there, you play peacemaker. All right. The playtime trolls. An individual plays a simple short game. Such trolls are relatively easy to spot because their attack or provocation is fairly blatant, and the persona is fairly two-dimensional. You get those in gamers, in gamer chats. Okay. The political commentator. Imaginative use of swear words and an ability to twist everything into an argument about misspending the taxpayers' money is a must. You know political trolls. Those are the political agitators that I've dealt with for years. The preacher, whatever the topic, they'll find some way of turning it into a great theological debate, and all you wanted to do is Instagram a picture of your dinner. The pretend novice has an agenda to push, but pretends to not understand the arguments against said agenda in order to push the agenda. Okay? By appearing to be a new user, she can get away with combativeness without appearing aggressive or hostile, and can always excuse any poor argument as ignorance or genuine inquiry. We get those quite a bit. I'm new here. What are we talking about? What's this discussion? I just popped in here because you're on my FYP. I just popped in. What are we talking about? I'm new. Can anybody recap the conversation? Yeah, you get quite a bit of those. Okay, and then you find out, well, you're not so new. You know more about this subject than you said you did. Those are always sneaky. The profane screamer. If someone says something even remotely critical of the profane screamer, he'll type in all caps, telling you what an ass you are and insulting your mom. The profane screamer is often a noob and often turns into the crybaby. Yeah, we've had those. The psycho troll. These trolls have an unconscious psychological need to feel good by making others feel bad. Such people may use their real names on the internet, and they may not even realize it. Psycho troll. These trolls have an unconscious psychological need to feel good by making others feel bad. Such people may use their real names on the internet, and they may not even realize that they are trolling. Okay, the rabid flamer. This guy, hold on. Everyone in his path, especially denizens of parenting or pet chats. Okay. The ranting troll. Ranting troll has an axe to grind, and his preferred place to do this is on your blog or in a review of your book. Like crazy troll, ranting troll makes some sense, so his arguments might be very tangential. Tangential. Okay. Religious trolls. These trolls use Bible verses and religious scripture to justify being mean to others for no real reason. The rent-a-mob. This troll will bring a like-minded mob troll army with them to fight the cause. Be warned, the army could be just one person in disguise. Had that in Key's chat today when Bree brought everybody over to confront Boston. You know what, guys? I have this as a PDF file. I will post all of this into my GRB evidence so that you can read it. The retroactive stalker. The retroactive stalker will go back in time to find every Craigslist post you ever made until he finds something embarrassing you said, oh, I had that one before. Even if you posted it 3 years ago. After that, whenever you post anything new, the stalker will link to the old posts. See? That's what Bree's doing. Bree is going back through all of your stuff. She's trying to find where you guys were fighting. She's trying to find every comment you ever made. Yeah, and they did it in Keys today with Boston. They were saying, you were all whatever. You were all this until you left. Now you're anti-gypsy. Whatever. They were just, and it wasn't even to be an attack on Boston. That wasn't the goal. The goal wasn't to humiliate or, you know, attack Boston. It was to disrupt Key's chat. Because, you know, Key goes on there and asks specific questions that they don't want anybody to answer or listen to or think about. Anyone who's doing any kind of content on Gypsy, you're going to get these. Okay. The self-feeding troll. This troll likes to argue even when everyone else in the fold tells him he's wrong. Without support from his non-existent friends, he changes handles or makes up new ones to show the fold how loved he is. The serial leaver. If they can't get their own way, they threaten to leave forever because of the vile bullying and then return a few days later. We have that one. We have that. Jumps down off a live when they don't want to confront the people they're talking about. The sharing troll, also known as the TOU violator. This psycho will find out your personal information and post it on message boards when you anger him. For example, when he's being an ass to someone and you step in to tell him to knock it off, he'll use your real name or post your address. Bree's doing that all the time now. A lot of them they're down in chat, they're using people's real names. And then they're like, oh, it was a mistake. Yes, they do it all the time. They're doxing. See, that's why they're so frustrated with me, because they can't dox me. Because I'm like, oh, you're doxing her. She's got her Gmail on the internet. She's got her phone number on the internet. You know? Her whole damn name is on ChatGTP, if you look up JFK Annie. Yes, they can't do shit to me. My fucking address is up there. Pictures of my house are up there. You know? That's one of the things one of these trolls tried to do years ago. My older son, bought a brand new house. And he has sold it since then. But like a week after he bought it, they sent pictures of that house to me to show me that they knew where my son lived. These guys are insidious. You know, and the goal is to intimidate you, scare you, get you to stop doing whatever it is you're doing that they don't want you to do. Get you to shut up. You know, some of these trolls just irritate because they're bored. You're going to see that online. But in this stuff, in the Gypsy stuff, the trolls we're seeing here, they are not random trolls. Okay? They're here for a reason. Okay, shock trolls. Shock trolls are arguably one of the more malicious troll, and they are fairly common in some parts of the internet. Shock trolls delight in causing offensive and may infect computers with malware for fun, or hack into sites and vandalize them. Shock trolls' tactics often involve the use of disgusting, perverted, controversial imagery or texts, and much like the griefer shock trolls, may find the resulting chaos to be amusing. The shouter. They're angry. They're so angry. They're angered by happy people, sad people, other angry people, cats, badgers, themselves, politicians, and hummus. The shouter. The snert. Driven by antisocial forces, a snert takes part in trolling to harm others for their own sick entertainment. The snob. This troll will post yawn, slow hand clap, rolling eye gifs after every post they deem below par. I get that a lot. They'll be down there and they'll just go boring, yawn, and yet they're sitting here listening to me. Okay? But that's a troll. The sock puppeteer. If you've got any concept of ORI, you're clearly not a sock puppeteer. These people can't actually have paying jobs. They're entirely too busy ruining everyone's internet fun and potentially having an extremely odd personality disorder. The sock puppeteer is a curious type of troll who creates several alternate accounts on a commenting forum to flank their original trolling comment or argument with support. This is what the Roger Stone Network did. Okay? They created thousands of accounts. and they were called sock puppets. And when they would be in these chats or in these discussions, they would be identified. We would know who they were, and we would say, you're a sock puppet. And they would turn into the angry, no, I'm not, you know. But that's what all of these different accounts are. Like the night that I was doing a live, and Aubrey Strawberry bounced in, and I blocked her. She bounced in again, like a minute later. Bounced in again, bounced in again. She had like 10 different profiles that she bounced in much at. And she had a strawberry beside each of them. And she admitted it was her. You know? So they are telling you who they are. And when they tell you who they are, believe them. Okay, spam bots I did, stalker I did. Okay, the STD troll. As many of you know, a sexually transmitted disease is hard to kick, just like this troll. Even when you think you've lost it for good, it comes back for another round. Unless you are a Zen monk, you'll quickly lose patience with this cretin and reward it with the desired reaction. The best way to fight this troll off is by doing something counterintuitive, agreeing with it. Please keep in mind this philosophy only applies to STD trolls. You should really just stick with a good antibiotic for an actual STD. I refer to this as the roll with the troll defense. Okay, that's it. We get those. We get a lot of those where they'll, you know, they leave and then they come back. They leave, you know, because they can't discuss this with us because we just don't make sense and we don't know anything about Gypsy. So they're just not going to tolerate us anymore, and they're not going to waste their time on us. And then they come back. We get those all the time. Okay, strategic trolls, a very serious form of game involving the production of an overall strategy that can take months or years to develop. It can also involve a number of people acting together in order to invade a list. The strategic trolls that's what Bree is. They planned this out. They're not just flying by the seat of their pants. All of this was planned out by someone. Christy, and you know, that's why when I know that Christy introduced all these people to Gypsy. That's why I'm a little suspicious of if Christy didn't plan this a long time ago to handle Gypsy when she got out of prison. That's just my personal take. You know. Going from the standpoint that Christy knows Gypsy hates her. And Christy wants to protect her own family from Gypsy. My natural assumption is that Christy had a plan. Possibly Stanfield. You know, I'm real curious, Platypus, now, if Stanfield's going to come out and acknowledge that Gypsy's throwing him under the bus now. Because when Gypsy said... now, I didn't hear it, so, I mean, this is just through scuttlebutt. I was told that she said this. I would like, if anybody has the clip, I'd like to see it. But that she said her and Stanfield never discussed the Munchausen defense. And that is just a bald-faced lie, because Stanfield has to. Stanfield is not allowed to present a defense to the court that he has not thoroughly and completely discussed with his client, because his client signs off on the defense. His client has to say, yes, go with that, no, go with this. Exactly. These people are very fucking devious. This whole thing is insidious. That's why I'm doing this thing to change the narrative about Dee Dee, because all of this, every single bit of this, was built off Dee Dee Blanchard's back. Her broken, bleeding, bloody back. Because when they first started lying about her and making her the monster, but see, now people aren't believing that anymore. So Gypsy's got to make her a bigger monster. She's coming out with new things. She bound my breasts. Really, Gypsy? Show me one instance of your breasts being bound. Why was that not in your book? Why has that never come forward? You know, why has that noise never been heard before? You know, that's all in that. I've got more that I can get in another batch, but it is 10 o'clock, so I would like to open this to maybe some discussion if somebody wants to come up. Yeah. See, Gypsy can't keep it straight anymore. She cannot maintain the bullshit. She can't maintain the lie. Too many people are coming to understand what it was. Hannah, do you want to come up? Because I did this for you. Well, that's what I did today. I
You did this for all of us, and I appreciate it so much.
I did it
We
for
needed
you
to know what the hell
because
we
you
were dealing
asked.
with. We
Now
needed to know.
I have more, and like I said, I'll make a PDF of all that, and I will put it in the GRB evidence group.
This is my thing. How do we combat that?
All the different trolls.
Yeah, just don't talk to any of them.
Well, no, did you see how I did tonight when they came in and showed their ass?
Uh-huh.
If you know what they're doing, learn to
Right.
read. Learn to read tone in the chat. See, that's what I taught myself years ago. Because when you're in a chat, it's text. You're not seeing my face. You're not hearing my voice. So that's why a lot of these fights start up, because people take something wrong that you
Yep.
might write. Okay, so you need to learn to read the room, read the chat, and read between the lines. You know,
Right.
like the other night when that one woman came in. Well, I don't know if she's male or female, but I forget the name. But where she said, you know, cautioned me. Where she said, you know, you can intimidate people that just want to learn.
Right.
You know, that was a concern troll. I used to get that all the time in the JFK chat. They used to. I got it when Robert Morrow started his bullshit with me, and he was attacking me, and Judith Baker was attacking me, and I responded. I gave it right back to them. You know, I gave my personality right back to them. I can show you the emails where they wrote to me, and researchers wrote and said, you can't act like that. You have to be ladylike because you represent JFK research. I'm like, I do not represent JFK research. I represent
Right.
Andrea Skolnick. And Andrea Skolnick is being attacked by a professional political operator. And Andrea Skolnick's going to stand up for herself and shove it right back up his ass. But they
I
said,
think.
you'll turn people away.
Yeah. But you won't turn an adult away. Adults are we're working together.
You know,
If somebody
I won't turn
wants to
anyone.
work,
I won't turn anyone away. Hannah, if someone really wants to learn, they're going to seek out where they can find the information they're looking for.
exactly.
They're going to find the information here. I'm gaining a reputation for not saying bullshit, you know, not tolerating the garbage. So everybody is coming over here now. I said this 2 years ago. I said the audience is going to get tired of the bullshit. They're going to get tired of all the fighting and the manufactured drama because they're not learning anything about this case. And they want to know
Right.
about the case.
I think
You know, Gypsy has
some
benefited.
people that troll us and they don't even realize they're trolls anymore. I think people like
Maybe,
that. They don't
maybe.
realize they're a troll.
Well, the two that came in here
Or they
tonight
think
knew
they're
they were
trolling
doing
the
it.
other side. Mm-hmm.
You know, the two
They
that
came
came in
in
here
a group
tonight.
too.
Yeah, see, I don't understand why they think they're going to do anything, make any difference. All they're doing is showing themselves. That's all they're doing.
Right.
They're dragging themselves into the light.
And they are. I am the grammar troll, the grammar police. Because matter of fact, the lady she was tagging me, I'm like, what is you talking about? So I'm spelling what she's spelling. I told you, you gotta use spell check. You coming here?
Yeah, see,
So
but see, people are going to take that wrong. See, yeah, I
right,
think, you know, as I read that, you might recognize things that you do yourself online, you
hell
know?
yeah, I know I
And
do it.
nobody wants to be told, you know, hey, you spelled that wrong, you know?
Right.
I mean, I get
Yeah.
that
If
sometimes.
you gonna add me, you better spell it. You better use
Yeah,
spell check.
because
I
my,
was like, what are you talking about?
so like my fingers slip all the time, and like numbers with the numbers on my teeny fingers on the phone. And like the other day, I was going to put 10 years, you know, because this was 10 years ago, and I put 19. I accidentally put 19 because my finger hit the 9, you know, right away. Somebody's like, that's inaccurate. You know, that says you know, it's been 10 years, not 19 years. I'm like, you know, my finger slipped and I didn't want to
Right.
redo the whole thing, you know? But that's what they'll do. They'll go every single little teeny mistake you make. They will comb through every post you've ever made online to try to find you know, to try to get you.
But the key word is that they're mentally unwell. So there's
Mhm.
nothing you can say if any of y'all, and that's why I've been stopped talking to them. If you sit back and listen to them, they're saying nothing. And it's like you just said all that to say nothing, but they cannot hear anything that you're trying to say to them because they aren't, that's not what they're there for. They're trying to listen to make sure that you don't get over on them. They don't care what you take away from them.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm like, if you don't know how to deal with mental illness, why are you over there? It is disrespectful to sit on a panel with somebody that has spent so much time spreading hate. Why would you do that? You're in a hateful environment.
Mhm.
And it's above
Well,
my pay grade. I refuse.
it was about, I'm going to say 2 months ago that I started seeing that. I started seeing like Bree jumping on all kind of different panels and them tolerating her. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was long after. Okay, like when she went up on that Justin guys. Did you all see that? When
Uh-huh.
remember when she went? Do you how she like basically took that over and screamed and then he ended it. You know, she said she
Right.
wanted to have a civil conversation, but she didn't. You know,
No.
she wanted to use because he has a large following. She wanted it, and I started telling them then. I said, "Stop it! Stop
Mm-hmm.
letting her do that, because she just wants to use your thing." I told Justin that. I said, "She just wants to use you, and look what she did."
Right.
And so then that didn't work for her. So it went back to the mocking, you know, and everything, and the taunting. But about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, I started seeing people say, like, you know, we can disagree about Gypsy, but still get along. No,
Right.
no. If
Right.
you are defending, and if you spent 2 years defending this monster, no, there's no getting along. I'm not getting along with you.
Right.
You
There's
know?
nothing to even talk about with them. It's
No.
like, so you're gonna let me say something about your friend and you're here and you're gonna just laugh it off? No, it feels uncomfortable because you have no business talking to them. Like, what are you accomplishing? And none of us are going to be the lone one that's going to make them see that what they're doing is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
None of us. There's nobody on this app.
Yeah,
So
Nellie.
I'm not innocent.
Yeah, Nellie. When you say we have that in our own community, what do you mean? What do we have in our own community? What are you referring to?
You are not getting peanuts, little boy. Sit down. The dog wants peanuts.
Because I'm going to basically explain how we can do this. You know, we need to remember this isn't about any of us. Can people on opposite political stances be friends? Well, Yeah, my sister is complete opposite politically of me, and she's still my sister. I'm not going to throw her away. I know that a lot of people are saying now, that there's no talking to the other side, and you just have to banish them. No, I'm not going to banish my family. Just not going to do that. We just don't talk about politics. you
That's right.
know, you know. Um, if you're reasonable, if you are reasonable, if you are not, okay, am I going to be friendly with a white supremacist? Absolutely
Mm,
not.
right.
Am I going to have a Nazi over for dinner? Absolutely not. Okay? No. There's lines that I draw in the sand. Okay? Am I going to have, a homophobic person over to dinner? And it depends. If they are open minded and they can really discuss. But no, you know,
I was
we
always
live
taught
in,
gay is what you do in the bed. So that has nothing to do with me.
it's the, people, you know, gay people have been, the Schmil the Gay Bill. That's a real thing that the Christian right funded, and they went into Uganda and they schmilled the gays, and it was
Mm,
legal. Legal. Now this is the thing that a form of Christianity supports. Chick-fil-A funded that. No, the Constitution, this land was formed on, the founding fathers, we all of us have the right to liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Okay? That's what I'm saying. This isn't about us. None of this is about us. It's about changing the narrative about Dee Dee
mm-hmm.
and ending the lies, ending the bullshit, and dealing with Gypsy Blanchard, getting the public to understand who she is. That's what this is about. So, if you want to do that work, I'm frozen again. If you want to do that work, you are welcome here. All right? If you want to make it about infighting between something somebody said to you a month ago, stop it. Get over it. Leave it. Leave it out there. Maybe if you guys all work together and we are effective at this, maybe you'll find that you don't hate that person like as much as you thought you did, because you have a common goal, and that's dealing with Gypsy Rose. And don't be so sensitive, everybody. Stop being so sensitive. Really. And stop, because all that's doing, it's dividing us. And it's stopping us from uniting to actually do something. If somebody said something about you a month ago, that was a month ago. Let it go. Maybe I'll have that as the theme song for our thing. Let it go. Let it go. Okay? You might find out that if you're working on a team with somebody, or you go over there and you see somebody else and what that team's doing, and it inspires you, that's what we're going to. I always loved the Donny Hathaway song, God Don't Make Ugly. I love Motown. It's my jam. And I live by that. God don't make ugly. Every single one of you have a skill. You have, a desire to do something. And if we all get together and use our skills and combine them, we're unstoppable. Do you understand that? We're unstoppable. There's nothing that they have. There's no weapon that they can be forged against us. They have nothing that they can throw at us. Since you guys have known me and I've been doing these lives, you see how they come at me. Are they doing have they stopped me? Are they doing anything to even harsh my mellow? No, they don't. If I get passionate, I always get passionate when I talk about Gypsy and her bullshit. That doesn't mean I'm mad. That's putting all of them people out there on notice that I'm in this. I'm in this now. I'm not going anywhere. Exactly. Just stop. You know what? Don't listen to it. Because it's not about any of us, Nellie. It's not about you. It's not about, anybody down there in chat. It's not about Bree and them. It's about Dee Dee Blanchard and the daughter that killed her and the lies that they've spun around her for 10 years. And so when you search Dee Dee right now, Gypsy comes up. A bunch of pictures and stuff. All Gypsy's bullshit comes up. We got to change that. We got to train AI so that the real story of Dee Dee comes up. And we don't have time for all of the nonsense because that's just nonsense. Do you know how many people talk about me every day? Say some shitty thing about me every day? And that's not just my 2 ex-husbands. Okay? A lot of people say shit about me every day. If I had a penny for every time somebody said, somebody came to me and said, this person said that, this person said that, I don't care. You know what that tells me? That tells me I'm scaring them. It tells me I'm effective. And they can't deal with me. They desperately want to, but they can't. So stop taking everything so personally, because it's not about you. Just make up with each other. You might find that that's going to be the best person in your life, the most loyal person in your life. Yeah, just be you and just stop, because Gypsy's using all of that. Gypsy is the only person that benefits when we fight among ourselves is Gypsy. That's it. Okay. Any questions about trolls or?
You say you're going to put it in there? Because I want to be on a committee that studies these.
Yes. Yes, I will. I'll
We
put it
need to
in. I'll
know.
put it in. I'll put it in both groups. I'll put it in.
Yeah.
Yes, because this has to do with what we're doing. So yes, I will put all the troll information. I'll make into a PDF file, and I'll put it in the group. I'll put it in my evidence group, and I'll put it in. Well, what I'm going to do too with I'm going to network all the groups together. Every group that I have on Facebook related to Gypsy Rose is going to be networked into this one, so that, like, okay, when they come to our this group, the database, my group on the prison emails is going to be in there, so that they can go and just look up all the prison emails. My
Right.
group on the media is going to be in there. They can just go and look up, and then I'm going to make like sort of
Yep.
subject groups or dedicated subject posts, and then you guys can just start feeding that subject. You can work on multiple subjects if you want. That's what we need to start discussing, different titles for subjects. Like I've got every word that, all the lies of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, all the legal statements of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, because every time she says anything in her book, online, over in those lives, it's a legal statement. So that can be used against her. So everybody collect it. Like if you are making these videos, like of different lives and stuff, if you got clips, we can put those video clips over there.
I want to study Melissa. A lot of people don't know enough about Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa has gypsy tendencies herself.
Yeah,
They
I'm
speak
gonna
the
have
same
a
study language.
I'm gonna have a cast of characters where I have all the names listed. Okay, that's going to
Right.
be kind of an ongoing thread, and then like Melissa will be in probably in different subjects, but like she's definitely going to be in what I call the marketing of the lie, the marketing of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. because
Let me
that's
tell
what.
you something that I found interesting from Melissa. Melissa's dad, who is the smiley face unaliver, he drew a naked picture of Melissa and sent it to Melissa and her new husband. Said, "This is how he sees you now. Y'all need to run more. Y'all are out of shape or something." But isn't that funny how a naked picture got sent, and then here we go, Gypsy's got a naked picture that was sent to. They're feeding off of each other.
Yeah. Well, I'm really, interested because I found a tie-in with Melissa. Melissa had to know about the Don Broker stuff. Okay.
You think so?
Well, yeah, because she was a producer on the Dr. Oz show. She was in charge of the crime segment, 2 crime segments, and somebody had to schedule Fancy and Dawn were supposed to go on Dr. Oz. They were going to talk about these emails and Nick. And so Melissa Moore had to know about that. And Gypsy knew about it because she tells Ken about it. The prison emails, she says, Dawn and Fancy are going up on Dr. Oz to talk about Nick, how vile Nick is, as if we didn't know that. And then she calls Dawn Nick's flavor of the month, you know. But so we know that, and then NPG Cornerstone said that in 2019, for Nick's birthday in May, Gypsy sent a birthday card to him warning him about Don Boker. How did she even know about Don Boker? And then further in the like chat, whatever, not chat, but the comments of that post that NPG Cornerstone made, NPG Cornerstone said it was 2018. So I don't know if it was 2019 or 2018. Either way, if it was 2018, how did Gypsy know about Don Boker in 2018? In 2019, when Nick was sentenced and he started his first appeal, and that's when all this started, how did Gypsy know about Don Boker in 2019? See, the whole thing is I've tied this to they were trying to obstruct Nick's appeal, and that is obstruction of justice, and that is legal charges. So I'm going to ask Melissa Moore. I'm going to try to text her and, whatever. She didn't answer me about the book. Because I asked her over on her TikTok, I said, what do you think about Gypsy throwing you under the bus about the book? They did not do Gone Wandering. It never happened. The Fancy and Dawn interview on Dr. Oz never happened, but they were scheduled to go on there.
Why did it happen?
I don't know. I have no idea. That I do not. I cannot tell you. All I can tell you is it was scheduled, but it did not happen. And yes, Dawn is on TikTok and she's on Facebook, and she's on Twitter.
I wonder if she's willing to talk to anybody.
I don't know. I have not reached. I mean, I've said, if you're listening, Dawn, if you want a redemption arc, give us all the emails you sent to Nick. Tell us everybody that helped you do that. Tell us if Gypsy was involved.
Oh, she's gonna want money for that. I wouldn't tell shit. I wouldn't tell shit.
Supposedly, Nellie, that's when this all happened. Fancy fell out with Christy and Gypsy. At one point, Gypsy was mad at both Christy and Fancy and wanted nothing to do with them. And then Fancy broke, and they realized that the contract wasn't any good, basically. So they broke with by proxy. And that's right after that is when this Don Broker stuff started. And Don Broker signed a contract with Fancy. I don't know what for, to be some kind of producer or something. And then Natasha Cooper was involved, because when Fancy broke with Gypsy went to Natasha Cooper and asked her to put all kind of shit into Facebook groups for her. That was back in 2019.
Well, Melissa's dad and Melissa's grandpa are the makings of a serial murderer. both of them. And she claimed that she wanted, when she went to prison to visit her dad, because she wanted to know if it was going to pass down to her son. Melissa's son she's got an older daughter. And it's like, I don't know where she thought it would pass down to the boy when Melissa is the oldest out of that sibling set, and the girl is the oldest out of her sibling, out of her kids. So she claimed she was going to see, trying to make sure it wouldn't pass down, but you sound crazy. You picked the wrong. It's you we need to watch out for, not your son. Melissa packed them children up with their daddy, and she got passed them on, and she went on about her life. Melissa has a Instagram. You can go see Melissa's life. Like when Gypsy wore that black leather thing with Melissa has one. She wore it, what was it? Not Halloween, New Year's. Melissa, Gypsy, there's a lot of outfits that she put on for, and that Melissa, she got the idea from Melissa. So,
Well, bottom line, Melissa helped Gypsy lie. She helped her push this lie.
But she got paid for her push. We don't have to, Melissa's not gonna ever. She got her money. She got what she wanted. She wanted to use Gypsy. She attached to her. She got what she needed, and then she's gone. Melissa ain't coming back to say that it's a lie or not. She don't care. She got her money. She got her money.
Wouldn't you be pissed if Gypsy is accusing you of being the reason the book is not accurate?
No, because what Melissa knows that we all know is that she's batshit crazy. No, she's not mad. She's glad she got away from that baddie girl. So no, Melissa's fine. So she's not gonna hurt Melissa.
She's just gonna let Gypsy implode.
Hell yeah. She got paid for it. Yes. That's all she wanted to do was get paid. And she did. So no, I don't believe Melissa is no blood, no love lost, none of that. Melissa saw a place to make $1, because Melissa is not she's not qualified to do what she's saying she is. Just because your daddy unalive people does not make you a criminal expert.
No.
So no, Melissa got over. She got over. She let Gypsy use a little smut lingo that she knew, and she went on about her business. She got rid of her kids, and she got her husband. She got her new husband, and they go around on doing retreats.
The thing about Melissa, though, is Melissa's savvy. So I'm sure that she covered her own ass.
Well,
I'm
yes,
sure she saved everything. All her conversations with Gypsy, everything.
Yeah. But you see where she's made that mistake, where she thought it was safe to go knock on them folks' door, talking about something she wanted to apologize on behalf of her dad. Like, are you kidding me? You were lucky they didn't jump on you.
Yeah,
her dad was brutal.
That Monster in the Family series, I thought that was just so egotistical.
Disrespectful.
Yeah. I think
Poor
she
taste.
re-traumatized most of those people.
She was re-traumatized because why? She said she went to go visit her dad because he kept writing her. So she took her kids talking about she saw the marksman on the post, and she said she was told that they provided daycare for the kids at the prison. Now what prison? Why are you saying that stupid stuff? She was saying that stuff. She was acting confused on Dr. Phil when she was talking to them. That's why I was like, she's not qualified to do. You're a criminal expert now, and you were on the show getting help. So when did your help turn into knowledge for you to be trying to help families heal? Did that help you? How did you feel about your daddy? Did it help you heal that he was looking in your face, talking to you any old kind of way, but he was out there taking other people's women's faces and scraping them off?
Did you see the miniseries that they did on? I think it's Paramount. The Happy Face
For the
Killer.
smiley face person.
Yeah, they did a miniseries on Paramount, all about Melissa's story.
Oh no, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid plays her father.
Oh, okay, because her father is 6'7".
Yeah,
And have you seen his art? The art that he sells
yeah.
it's I know it's morbid, but it's beautiful. For using a pencil, his stuff is very detailed. He takes the money that he gets from the paintings and he gives it to Melissa and her brothers. That's his way of paying child support to them. So in
Well,
a way, that's blood money too.
it's a dramatization, so they made shit up, but they play it off that she never wanted to come forward and identify him as her father, but her father was admitting to a new murder that was
Uh-huh.
never, and that doctor was it's they don't call him Dr. Oz, but the Dr. Oz character was doing a segment on it and found out that she worked for Dr. Oz. She was a makeup person, and then she became the like true crime segment person after she came forward, but um her father started contacting her and stuff, and they wanted her to talk to her father about this case to get him to,
Right.
admit stuff. But they play it off like she never wanted the attention, the media attention, or whatever. I don't believe that one bit.
Hell no, she wanted it.
Hmm.
She ran to it because he did not include her in the murder. So what is she coming forward to tell us? Because she didn't even want to meet him. She said she went ahead and agreed to it because she wanted to make sure it wasn't going to pass down as if it's like pain or something. Like it's not. And if it is, she got it. She and her daughter would be in line.
Hmm.
So maybe she does have tendencies to think like a unaliver.
I don't know. Well, guys, I'm going to cut this at 11 tonight because I want to do one tomorrow night too. And these every night ones are starting to get to me. So, but I really want to start on the subjects tomorrow, and then sometime next week I'm going to do a JFK with Tommy, as soon as he's free.
When
And
you say the subjects, give me an example because I can do what you're saying, so I can
okay,
go ahead and look up what I need to do.
yeah, for instance, like I'm going to have all of the lives of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and we go through
Right.
her
Okay.
book, we go through all her statements, we go through all the videos, we go through Mommy, Dead, and Dearest, and we just catalog every single time she lied. We go to the Dr. Phil episode, all of her
You
interviews.
know, we can write a book. I'm in a group on Facebook that wrote a book to debunk 50 Cent, the rapper 50 Cent Stalkers Live. We got together,
Oh,
I think it was 1,000 of us in there, and we published it through Kindle. We
huh,
just went
yeah,
chapter by chapter and debunked everything she was saying.
sure. No, Misha, I don't think I've seen that yet. I'll have to look it up. Um, if you want to send me the link. Uh, yeah, I'm up for writing a book once we get all this organized and everything. If any of you guys want to take it and make it a book, we can make it a book.
We did it. We worked on it. I followed her for 13 years. We've been following her, but we shut her out on social media. We got all her pages taken down because she was popping them up and stealing. She was grifting.
Hmm.
She asked for phones and stuff in hotel rooms. Then the people would give them for her, and then she would block them. And then she would stay in the hotel and swear that she was famous. So what she would do is give out her phone number. She would say, I'm Arana Lopez, and I have haters on the internet. And she'd give us the address to where she was. So they would call where she is. But she said, I don't know why these people keep following me. You do. You gave the number out. So people were trying her like that. But we got her taken down. She flew to Hawaii and she's getting her money through. She was a comedian before her mom died and she's schizophrenic and she flew to Hawaii during COVID, and we got with the people on the island, and they made the Hawaii, I think it's the mayor or whatever he is, he made her ass come back. They escorted her back to wherever. I think they let her go to New York. They flew her back because she was not adhering to the COVID laws. And see, she flew over there because she heard about a community of homeless people, and she was at the community and they were having fun and all that, but she would not wear her mask. But we made sure that nobody would get hurt by her and her lies. So it's something that can be done.
Yeah. Well, the first subject is going to be what I call the cast of characters. And
Okay.
what we need to do is, I don't know what you guys have as far as the documents, but we go through the Greene County case files and we pull out every name, every person's
Gotcha.
name, every organization, like all the hospitals Gypsy went to, all the doctors that saw her, and that's a lot of that is in that original Greene County. I don't know if I can send it to people in emails. What I'm doing is over on my evidence is I'm taking screenshots of it and putting it all up there. But anywhere you can find like a list of, start making lists of people's of names that were involved. Everybody that gave an affidavit.
We found
Because
the pizza man that Dee Dee snatched the pizza from. Went on Facebook and we found him.
wow, okay. See,
Uh-huh.
yeah, shit like that,
Mm-hmm.
because then from there, see, this is how we did it in the Kennedy assassination. I have a book called Who's Who in the JFK assassination, and it's got thousands of names. And then
Oh
we take
wow.
all those, we take all those names and we, who is this person and what is their relation to the case? And
Right.
then, then basically what we're doing is breaking it down to its simplest form for study,
Mm-hmm.
for public consumption, because then,
Right.
okay, like if Bree, comes and does her bullshit, like I have all the medical records and, I can prove you don't have nothing. I can prove Gypsy was medically abused. Okay, well, combat it with this database that
And then
has
she starts flipping them papers.
right. So, and then this can coincide with what Becca Scoops is doing, because they're going to have like a media push to get this pushed out onto the web. And, instead of bogging these people down with massive amounts of material, we can streamline it, make bullet point presentations that can then be sent to, and that's another thing, guys. Mind you, Becca's making what's called a sizzle reel that she's
Yeah,
gonna
that's what I
send.
heard.
Yeah, sizzle reel. And what she wants us to do is make short little videos of just basically why you do this, how you got into it, if you used to believe her, what made you not believe her. She wants basically, our stories. Why are you doing this? Why are
Right.
you spending all your time on this? Why am I spending my time on this and not watching Colin Firth right now? Or searching pictures online of Colin Firth in a bathtub? I'd rather be doing that. So,
Right.
but yeah, no, I think this can happen, and you know what? It can grow with us. And
Right.
this is something that will stay online long after we're gone. If we all decide to stop doing Gypsy Rose and go on and live our lives again, this will be here. This will be
Right.
here to deal with her. And anybody can link it anywhere her name is mentioned on the internet.
Right.
Now,
And
I
see,
don't know
that's
if I
good.
can make a Wikipedia page for something like this, or if it's got to be about a person, or
Well,
I
wouldn't
don't
it
know.
be, you would be able to add your take on it. They let you add paragraphs to the Wikipedia.
Yeah,
So it'll just be another page.
I wonder if I can like add it to the murder of Dee Dee Blanchard, like add it as a citation.
Well, I think so. You have to follow, I guess you have to go look on there, but I think
Yeah.
so. But I was always taught that Wikipedia wasn't a good source.
Well, it's okay. The reason people say that is because it can be edited. People can edit it. What I have always liked about Wikipedia is, and we have a site like this about the Kennedy assassination. I don't know why I keep blipping out of like a ghost. Um, we have a site like this about the Kennedy assassination called Spartacus Educational. What I've always liked about Wikipedia is the blue hyperlinks. So, like,
Hmm.
say I go look for, you know, anybody. I can trace it. You go down to like their biography or their history, and you can click on the links and find out everything about them, like where they started, what they connect to. That helped a lot with my Roger Stone research,
Hmm.
because it's all kind of interconnected. But with anything on the internet, you have to research your research.
Hmm.
You know, you can't. If I just read something about the Kennedy assassination, I'm not just going to take that as face value and go, okay, that's true, that's fact.
Right.
I have to prove to me you. That's what study is. Study is it's a science, and you test. In science, you test. You test your information to find out if it's accurate. Once you prove to yourself that it's accurate, then you believe it.
Right.
But yeah, it's a
Well,
well.
I'm
Look.
excited.
Gypsy tried to delete shit. But
Hmm.
here's where she fucked up. With me, anyway. Here's where she fucked up. When she tried to do the Dee Dee Blanchard, murder Dee Dee Blanchard, she changed that one way. She changed the motive. Okay?
Right.
And what is the key to every single crime, especially murder? Why was that person killed? Right?
Right.
Motive. We've always known what Nick's motive was. Always. To have Gypsy in his life.
Right.
We've never known what Gypsy's motive was, because Gypsy's changes her story multiple times in the past
That's
10
right.
years. But what did she try to put in the Wikipedia? She wanted to change it specifically to Gypsy's motive
Right.
was to escape her mother, and Nick's motive was his murderous ideation. That's a specific term. So a lot of
Right.
people, now that they changed it back, but a lot of people were going, why did she put that word in there? Well, go back 2 years. Go back 2 years to Reddit when these Dawn emails were being posted up, and everybody was saying, hey, Nick is disturbed. He's sitting in his room with murderous ideation. He would have done this anyway. He was just waiting to do this. Okay? This has been built.
Right.
All of this has it's the end of a strategy. And that's how you have to understand it. Chelsea, did you mean to come up here?
Hmm. Probably, probably not. Because what have I been catching
They
hell
tap
tap?
and they bounce up all the
Uh-huh.
time.
Tapping and accidentally tap that bottom box. Move,
The book
dog.
on the Kennedy assassination, Colleen, is the who's who in the Kennedy. I've got all those books on digital, and I am putting
Oh,
them up on my in my Facebook group, so they'll be available for discussion for future lives. Misha, her continued slander, exactly. Her continuing to accuse these doctors in the hospitals. That's why we need all the doctors' names. We need the hospital she went to. We need as much information about this case as possible. Once we have all the names, then we separate those names into where they fit, what subject, you know. I'm gonna have a subject of Gypsy Rose, her life, birth to 14, because that's before the move. It's birth to 14, and then 14 to 24 is after the move. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to prove that Dee Dee never abused her. Because we're going to take her life from birth to 14, find the abuse, prove the abuse. We're going to do what a legal assistant for Mike Stanfield would have done had they taken this into court. We're going to do what a prosecutor would have done had they taken this into court, because the prosecutor would have had to be prepared to impeach Gypsy on the stand. Oh, if you want political research, go over to my Facebook account. It's all over there. That's what I teach about the hidden history behind all of our lives.
Right.
And I'm going to start hidden history shows with Tommy. We're going to talk not just about the JFK assassination, Watergate, Iran-Contra, how it all links together, the hidden history behind all of our lives. Exactly. Well, no, Misha, she's not just pleading her case to the public. She's actually saying no mass media will invalidate my story. She really thinks that. I love the part of Becca where Becca read that, her saying that, and Becca looks right into the camera and she's like, "Really, Gypsy? Really?" I love Becca.
Right. It's coming
Oh,
out.
no. My Facebook is my name, Andrea, Andrea, Skolnick, S here. I'll just put it. Hold on. I have like pictures up of it up on my my wall here. That's me on Facebook. I think yeah, on Facebook I've got that same picture with me in the hat. Okay, so it's 11 o'clock. I'm going to cut for tonight because I really want to do tomorrow night, kind of start going into the subjects. Tomorrow, it snowed here, so I got to do it. Oh, and I got to get my van in tomorrow. So I got a little housekeeping to do. If I have to cancel or reschedule tomorrow, I'll post a thing, but I'm going to try to come on tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
All right.
Okay, and thank you, Hannah, for recommending this because I think it was a good live.
Me too. And look, I think so too. The knowledge that we have is what's gonna keep us from set us apart from them.
Okay. Well, it better not snow anymore here. I'm not ready for snow yet. Good night, Nellie. Good night, everybody.
Good
I'll see you
night.
tomorrow night.
All right. Bye. Thanks for the gifts, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Now, see, it won't end.